Well, hello and good evening, folks. I'm not sure why we are not showing up. What is going on? Let us move over here. There we go. There I am. And there's Kyle. How in the heck is everybody? Good to see you all. Kyle, can you hear us? Can you feel us near you? I'm guessing that's no. Hello, Vinny. Good to see you. Hey, spread that link around, folks. Let them know we are live. Let everybody know that we are live. Kyle will be stepping back over here shortly, I'm entirely certain.
Good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning, Kyle. How the heck are you?
All right. Just having my morning coffee.
Excellent. Excellent. Let me just throw this over here for the folks over on Discord. So if you're sitting around wondering what the heck all this is going on, what I've been talking about, someone, and they wish to remain anonymous, so anonymous you shall have it. Someone donated the means, the wherewithal, one time through Patreon to allow us to use StreamYard, the full bore version of StreamYard, and we can do the multicasting to YouTube and to Facebook at the same time, because I don't want to forget my friends over on Facebook, right? That's where I started all this. If I have a modicum of popularity,
so that's the benefit. That's the benefit we get to multi-stream.
Multi-streaming.
What else can we do with our new toy?
We don't get the watermark over in the corner over yonder. We can put our own custom watermark on there if we want. We can have more people in the stream if we want to get a whole panel of guests going. It's easier for you because you don't have to fart around with the Discord.
Yeah.
Well,
what's the limit on the stream at the moment?
Right now,
like if you had your Monday night 12-player game streaming, could you do that?
I think the max number that I could have guess wise is 9, but I could, you know what? I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to go over here and we're going to go to StreamYard and we're going to see, let's see. So looking at this, no, I don't want to go to my account. I just want to look at StreamYard. Just please let me, you know what, here. I'll open it up over here on a different page. But if I go to, if I just go to, let me see, try this one more time. No, don't do that. Just show me the StreamYard main page, please. It's not going to show me the StreamYard main page. So basically, I think that I get like a dozen. So I could just fit the Monday night game in if I didn't add any other players. But the biggest thing is the weight is off our shoulders as far as having to multi-stream. I'm now not having to split my stream into 2 janky streams that don't sync up with audio and video sometimes and fall down. I can just turn on the virtual camera and select any input to it that I want. And it's very, very cool. I'm extremely pleased with this. And thank you. You know who you are, who's responsible for this. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, because this is awesome, and this will allow us to do even more awesome things.
Well, that's good, because as we've discussed before, in all those movies like Aliens and that, when people wanted to have video calls, they just went doot, doot, doot on their machine and they had their video call. We didn't imagine this reality where it would be choose which platform you use and go here and go there, and then you can't do the cross-platform thing, and then it gets janky, and that was never shown in all those funky movies with Blade Runners and all the rest.
No. I mean, Deckard, when he goes to Taffy Lewis's, he just like sticks a credit card in the Bell Pacific phone booth thing, and it brings up Rachel, like right then and right there. You know, he doesn't sit there going, "Can you hear? Can you hear me?" You know, Dr. Haywood Floyd calls his daughter in Australia from space. He calls her from space. He's in the Pan Am lounge of a space station. It calls his daughter, and that's in 2001. Raise your hand if you were seamlessly video conferencing in 2001 in reality, and then take that hand and slap yourself with it because you're lying. And you know, there's a bit in Star Trek. Balance of Terror is one of the best episodes of the original Star Trek. And there's this great bit where they're talking about they've never seen a Romulan, because during the first Federation Romulan War, technology had not evolved to allow video connections, video conferencing between starships. So it was just done over voice. So the fact that Romulans look exactly like Vulcans is this big shock, and you got the racist disposable crewman of the week who does the slow turn to look at Mr. Spock as the camera pulls in on him, and we get the the music sting and everything. But here's the thing about that. Assuming that Earth suffered like from the early 1980s until the early 2010s, a series of conventional and biological and nuclear and chemical wars, I can absolutely believe it took them 200 more years to get video conferencing down pat. So that makes
I can believe that, but at the same time, for them to sort out warp drive and the teleporter and stuff, that might take a bit longer too.
Yeah, it's funny. I love the original Star Trek, including the animated series and the movies with those cast members, except for Generations, because I thought that was shit because Kirk died. But I would say in the overall, as far as means something to me, I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than Star Trek. And there's, that nerd rivalry. Well, every day we see more technology that's more and more like Star Trek, and Star Wars is magic fantasy. Yeah, get back to me on that whole transporter thing, okay? Don't at me about my love of Star Wars until you want to bring some kind of reconciliation for transporters out. I could be here for 2 hours foaming and frothing about the ridiculous magic of the transporter. If in the first episode they'd gone into that room and there was a guy in like a blue wizard cloak and a pointy hat with a magic wand, and he said "Alakazam" and sent them to the planet's surface, it would make more sense than the sci-fi gobbledygook they've come up to try and justify the cot dang transporter. So don't
to justify the fact that the show had the budget to do transporters, but it didn't have the budget to do shuttles.
Yeah, exactly.
that was it, wasn't it? They just didn't have the budget to do scenes with shuttles, and they thought it would take up too much of the show to show them going up and down all the time.
Yeah. It was a huge budgetary thing too. I remember reading that like when Roddenberry showed the Enterprise design and talked about like the size of the ship and everything, is you can do camera pulls and dolly pulls and a lot of fun tricks to make a flying saucer look like it's going to land on a planet, right? But the Paramount people were like, this is going to cost a fortune to try and make it look like it's landing. So you had to come up with the transport, and even the shuttle shots, as you point out, were too expensive. So yeah, come on in and watch. Spread the link around, guys. I'm spamming all my favorite people with it. And yeah, there we go. And the nice thing about this is, again, I get all the chats from you guys, whether they're on on Facebook or YouTube. But yeah,
so,
I'm gonna
Happy New Year to all you guys. And the topic of the week for me is teamwork, because I've been playing this online game called Insurgency, where it's just, it's a first-person shooter, but you can work in teams, and they've been very politically correct and just called the two groups security and insurgency, so they don't have to call them Iraqis and Taliban or whatever. Though the characters and their voices are vaguely they're English speaking, but they're vaguely Middle Eastern in some unspecified way. And yeah, so you run around and do missions. You can be the security or the insurgency, and the game kind of encourages you to take turns doing either, which is confusing for me because, like, usually the security are in uniform and the insurgency are in jeans and t-shirts. So you see a colorful guy and you end up blowing him away, and then you realize he's your teammate. Whoops. But or you see a guy in uniform and you shoot at him. Yeah. So it makes it hard for the reflexive shooting. It makes you have to stop and think, which is a nice balance to the fact that there's no civilians around for you to have to worry about shooting by accident. So at least you have to stop to think if it's your teammate or not. Anyway, it's really made clear something that I've said for a long time about tabletop role-playing games, with the importance of teamwork. Because you go online and you get these random players come up and play with you, and most of them are obviously used to just doing first-person shooters, solo games, running off on their own, and everyone kind of starbursts out in random directions, even though you've got your objective over there. And you get these guys trying to take the objective all by themselves, or they don't want to take the objective, they just want to sit back and snipe. And it's not really a setting where you can sit back and snipe. You'll be sniping from like 150 meters or something like that. It's not, which means that the enemy will, once you start shooting, the enemy will see you and start shooting back. So it's a game which really rewards teamwork. So if you have guys who cooperate, who don't know each other, but still cooperate a bit and say, enemy coming from the west, or there's a guy on the top balcony or whatever, they absolutely smash through the thing. So in each round, if you die, but the rest of your team goes on to take the objective, then you get to respawn. But it's still more convenient if you don't die in each one. So the teams where they communicate with each other and they move together as a unit, and you go over here and you go over there and I'll go here, kind of thing, they do really well, and they just smash through the computer AI. But the teams where everyone runs off and does their own thing, they die horribly, including the guy who was running off and doing his own thing. So yeah. Now, this is what I've always said in tabletop role-playing games as well, that a lot of players are used to playing these online first-person shooters and playing by themselves and that. And they've watched they've watched the latest action hero movies where the guy is working on his own. And so they're not used to working as a little team. So then you come back to original D&D or AD&D or Classic Traveller or whatever, and they don't always appreciate how, the thief picks locks and the fighter does the fighting and the magic user does the magic. And so they look at their character sheet and say, oh, but my magic user's crap at fighting, or my fighter, how come he can't have magic? Well, he doesn't need to because he's going to work in a team. In the movies, in a D&D type movie, this is best exemplified by Conan the Barbarian, which I watched with my eldest recently. And you see where Conan, Subutai, and Valeria go into the tower on their own. They're completely successful. They don't get injured at all. They get stacks of treasure. In the next one, Conan goes off on his own, and he ends up beaten up and crucified on the Tree of Woe. The team comes and rescues him. In their next encounter, they get in, and they get in pretty unscathed, and they have a fight, and they defeat the enemy, and they don't grab any treasure, but they grab the princess, which was their goal. And then when they get out, Valeria gets shot on the way out. That was either a vindictive DM, or it was just a matter of she made a deal when Conan had the magic to save his life. He said, the wizard said, oh, the spirits of this place extract a heavy toll. And she said, then I will pay their toll. In other words, she was promising to give life for life. So you can interpret her being zapped with the snake by Thulsa Doom as either a vindictive DM shooting them on the way out, or as fulfilling that promise that she would give her life for his. And then in their next encounter with Doom's guys, they set up all these traps, and they channel the enemy, because it's the Battle of the Mountains, so they've got all the hinges, all the big stones and everything piled up. So the enemy has to come down certain routes. And so they channel that and they plan that to ambush them, and they absolutely wipe them out. They get barely a scratch. There's just one moment where Conan gets knocked down and Valeria comes back from the dead and momentarily blinds Rexor to save him. And then after that, Thulsa Doom runs off, and Conan goes and gets him after that. But even when he goes and gets him, he's not working entirely on his own, because he has the princess with him. And she kind of clears the way because the guards recognize the princess and they let them by so that Conan's able to ambush the guards. So he still works better with a plan and teamwork than he would on his own. And in any case, he and the rest henchmen, basically. So if you think of, there's or something, but you also notice in the monster description, it also say, there would be this many. So they've already wiped out most of them. So they just have to go and get a few 0-level men-at-arms and take out Doom himself. So that really shows how well teamwork works in a D&D kind of setting. And I'm sure everyone who's played can think of many examples themselves where if the team kind of starbursts out and runs off and does their own thing, everyone dies. If they work together, it works pretty well. It's nothing is guaranteed. They can starburst out and still somehow succeed, and they can work as a team and still lose some of their team. But in general, you're going to do a lot better if you work together. And yeah, it's just something that's been really clear to me lately, because even though I haven't had the chance to play D&D, there's been that online play. Okay, over to you, Bill.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Kyle's experiencing a little bit of lag, so we're trying to give each other enough of a buffer so we're not stepping on each other. But I mean, that's a fundamental truth, and it's something. The first multiplayer video game I ever played was actually based on a programmer's Dungeons and Dragons game, and it was Gauntlet. Now, I am sure plenty of us have funneled way too much of our lunch money and allowance and lawn cutting money and what have you into Gauntlet machines over the years. And you had 3-4 distinct classes. You had, every map had a mission: find the exit and get to the next map. Um, uh, but you could do that right there. Damien says Green Wizard needs food badly. If you did Contra team things, it could really screw stuff up. You had to stay focused. I mean, we all know the phrase "elf shot the food," or fighter shot the potion, or what have you. In a game of Gauntlet, even teamwork was key. One of the most fun games that I played, and it's actually where I met some of the players of my Monday night game, that massive thing, is Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 by Valve Software. They're fantastic games. I think they cost peanuts these days, and it's 4 humans playing either against a CPU or 4 other humans playing special infected. That is not just hordes of infected zombies, but they can do stuff like grab you and smash you repeatedly against the ground, or wrap you up in a horrible frog-like tongue, or leap on your back and shove you into danger and that sort of thing. But even if it's just the AI, again, running off and doing your own thing, like, hey, I think there's a better shotgun over in that room. I know you guys are making a mad dash for the rescue helicopter, but I want to go find that shotgun. You're going to die. You're going to die by yourself in a Left 4 Dead scenario like that. Or you're going to cost one or more other team members their characters' lives. Because, person is, oh crap, he's mobbed. His hit points are down. I can see his status on the screen. I'll run over there and save him. And then, oh, now I'm mobbed, because all you can do if you lose all your hit points and fall to the ground is blaze away with your pistol and hope, that you take out some normal undead. All right. So now that's 2 people are down to the 2 that are waiting on the rescue helicopter to fly out of there, dash out and save you to increase the glory of the win, or do they just wait until your life bars drop to 0 and you're dead and the helicopter leaves? Team play is absolutely essential, and it's the same in an AD&D game. Greetings, Lord Corion. It is the same in an AD&D campaign. I mean, the meme, and Kyle, you know this as well as I do, is don't split the party. If you split the party, bad things are going to happen. Now, I can juggle multiple individual players going off in multiple individual places and ways. I just go round robin through the players. But if you're off in, if you're playing Keep on the Borderlands, 8 players want to go fight the kobolds. 1 player is like, no, I want to check out this cave over here. I have no problem with that as a DM. You, the player, you're going to have a problem with it. You're going to have the problem with it. I'm fine doing that as a DM. It is never, split the party is never about, well, we got to make things convenient for the DM. Splitting the party makes it just as convenient for me as sticking together. So, by all means, if you want to go Leroy Jenkins and solo the cave with the owl bear or the ogre in it while your party is subduing the kobolds, be my guest. But teamwork
So I think
is key. Go ahead.
I think so in D&D compared to an online game like Insurgency, the lack of teamwork is kind of hidden a bit, because some of the aspects of teamwork that we would have become implicit rather than explicit. So if you've got your little miniatures, and if you've got 4 of your guys, for example, if you've got 4 of the PCs and then four monsters, you can have, and then you go around the table and say to the players, what are you doing? Then this player will fire at this enemy, and this player will fire at this enemy, and this one, boom, boom, boom. So they spread it out. Whereas in something like Insurgency, if you've got 4 players who aren't communicating, you can have 4 players all fire at one enemy, and then there's another 3 enemy who fire back with nobody bothering them. So just the very fact that you're sitting around a game table or you're online and you can hear what the other guys are doing creates an implicit kind of teamwork, where you sort of go, okay, well, he's treating the wounds of that guy, so there's no need for me to, or he's shooting at that guy, so there's no need for me to. So it kind of shields players a bit from realizing just how little they're cooperating. But if you can have somebody who takes charge, and or a group who works really well together, they know where they go. I'll always go left when we go into the dungeon. You always go right or whatever. And that's why GMs ask for things like marching order. It's to impose a bit of teamwork despite the players. But yes. Just seeing there've been some. I've been in some really good games online where there was somebody who took charge and would say, 2 enemy, green building, top balcony. And people would start shooting at them and so on. And so they'd give directions, and you'd have pairs of guys like push, opening head, pushing in now, and then friendly coming in behind and that sort of thing. So, because you might have 2 guys at one end of the room firing at the enemy, and then so then the player comes in, and if one of them hears and turns around and shoots at him, or even if he sees that he's friendly and doesn't shoot him, that's a moment that he wasn't shooting at the enemy. He ends up being shot in the back through the window by one of the guys on the other side. So the ones who communicate a lot, you see it works really well. But the one who's saying enemy on the balcony or whatever, that made me think of AD&D's caller. I tell the GM what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And so right back 40, 50 years ago, we have these same ideas. And it sort of makes sense when you look at the backgrounds of some of the players. So obviously there would have been a number of players with some sort of military background, but a lot of the players would have a wargaming background too. And as I've said before, I think that's something often not appreciated about D&D, just how many of the original players had a strong wargaming background, so they had a strong tactics. So it's just like the thing of the skills. They didn't bother writing down what was your fire starting skill or your swimming skill or whatever, because it was assumed that everyone could do that. I think they might have lacked a little bit in talking about tactics, because it was assumed that the players themselves had some sort of wargaming background, and so would have a reasonably good grasp of tactics. Or they could just figure it out by dying a whole heap of times.
Right on. And I'm sorry, were you done?
Yep.
Okay. One of the things that I note about this is, as soon as you said caller, I grabbed the PDF here for Original Dungeons and Dragons, the Underworld and Wilderness Adventures. The caller is mentioned first here in OD&D, and it picks up in AD&D. Let me see here. But it picks.
It'll be right next to the dungeon.
Yeah.
play example of the dungeon.
Yeah, the play example. I'm just I'm trying to find my PDF there. But the you know the color. Come on. Is sorry, I'm Acrobat was locking up on me, so I'm going to talk to you guys, not look at that. So the color is very important for good team play. Now, I do round robin calling, but I've used a color before, and both work exceptionally well. I will say, if you're not going to have a color, for goodness sake, particularly if you've watched this show, if you've watched this stream, if you've watched this do the how to play AD&D segments, if you're not going to use a collar and you're just getting into DMing for the first time, strictly enforce round robin. Make the players take turns telling you what they're going to do. You've seen it with Kyle and I stepping on each other just because of lags in the telecommunication between us. Imagine 6 or 8 people all doing that and not being polite and stomping, and all with contravening ideas. You know, the magic user is like, no, I'm going to hit him with a fireball. I'm going to hit him with a fireball. DM, fireball. I'm casting fireball. I'm casting fireball. And the 2 fighters over here are like, wait, no. He's not, because we're fighting him. Like, if he detonates that fireball, you know, we're dead. And the magic user is just saying, no, I said fireball. So, you know, you guys should have heard me. I'm casting fireball. And the illusionist is like, no, I was going to cast phantasmal forces and use that. So and it just becomes a verbal scrum where nobody can get their ideas across. And that's not just the DM herding cats. That's you guys as players, everybody getting in sync and getting on the same page as players. Okay. All right, Bob. Me and Jeff are going to rush up and engage him in melee. Are you going to hit him with a spell? Yeah, I'm going to drop fireball on him and soften him up. You know, Shelby's over here. Well, I was going to hit him with phantasmal forces. Is that going to affect a large enough area of them? Okay, you soften up because they've got some leader types in the back. Hit him with phantasmal forces. I'll roll over them with fireball. Then when they're softened up, Bill and Jeff rush forward and hack them with their swords. Now let's get that information to the DM. You know, that's good team play. Everybody yelling their ideas is bad team play. Now, occasionally, you're going to have somebody, and again, this is players. I'm telling you, this is players, not just the dungeon master. But you're going to have somebody who they don't pay attention. They maybe like they're not jerks. They just missed what was being said. Oh, I thought you were throwing the fireball way over them at the reinforcing group that's coming. I already, you know, my character rushed up. It happens. Okay. I mean, you watch a football game, there's blown assignments. Those players have got a playbook. Those players are playing together as a team. They just, you know, 10 men shifted right to cover the run, and you drop way back to cover a pass that's not coming, and you're just kind of standing out there like, ah. It just happens. But function as a team and know each other's strengths and weaknesses as a team. And you're not going to have one guy who runs off to mount the 50 cal by himself and thus draws a huge rush of insurgents. You're not going to have one dude who decides to
Even
go
better than
searching.
Even better than that. So this also made me think of D&D. So I was playing in one where there was no communication, and so as you get play experience, you go up in levels and you can unlock more roles. So the rifleman just gets to carry rifles and grenades and stuff, and then the gunner can carry a machine gun and so on. And it doesn't take very much play to get up in the roles. There's the commander who can call in airstrikes and stuff. You can call in the helicopter come in with a minigun. They'll and he needs an observer with him. So technically you can have just a commander and an observer and nobody else running around. You can have up to 8 players. But anyway, so there was all this firefight going around on the building that we were defending, and the commander calls in an airstrike, and except for the commander and the observer, everyone else was outside the building. So we all got ripped to shreds by the minigun. The insurgents did too, but we all got ripped to shreds by the minigun. And I just laughed at how stupid it all was. It's like, you could tell us, because once they call it in, you've got about 10 or 15 seconds before it comes in, up to 30. So you can run into the building or run for cover or whatever, and you shouldn't be hurt. But he didn't tell us. He just called it in. And so the rest of the team got wiped out, and the surviving insurgents then wiped out the commander and the observer. So, and this made me think of D&D, of course, because who among us has never been fireballed by their own party mage? You know, we've all been there. We've all been fireballed by our own party's mage, wizard, magic user. who like didn't think about the volume, you know, that if I can cast a fireball in that 10-foot room through the doorway, but it's going to flow out into the corridor.
Right.
We've all been there. The importance of communications, because if the magic user tells the party that he's going to cast a fireball, someone is going to point out and say, excuse me, won't it flow out into the corridor and get us? Someone will point it out, you know, but if he just goes ahead and does it, then, and there goes the party.
Yeah. Of course, you know, you usually it's going to happen eventually that the longer you play AD&D and the more your DM sticks to using the treasure charts, some lunatic in the party is going to wind up with a wand of wonder. And at that point, all teamwork goes right out the door. Because it never happens that the same level-headed person who gets the wand of wonder and says, guys, I think we're better off selling this and taking the golden experience. No, it's the lunatic who wants to see if they can summon a giant rhino in the middle of the fight against the orcs, or, you know, is just sitting there throwing random stuff out of it, like a spray of one gold piece of value gems. It grows grass on the target. It makes me shrink. It makes them grow. Mm-hmm. It casts a 7-die fireball.
Mm-hmm.
So kids, when somebody gets the wand of wonder, take it from them. I promise you. I don't care. You could be playing D&D with Henry Kissinger. I promise you. You will be more sensible than anybody else at the table who gets the wand of wonder.
Yeah, the last time I saw that in the campaign, it was with John DMing, and the player who got the wand of wonder in the midst of a combat, he used it, and his character, and you know, it's the GM. John looks it up, goes, you become 30 foot tall. And it actually turned out to be useful because he could stomp on the enemy, and there were some cliffs nearby, so he was able to just pick up members of the party and put them on the cliff top so that we could quickly get out of the area. So it actually worked pretty well on the, but it's the one time that I've seen it come good. It's either stupid or actually harmful in most cases.
Yeah. Wand of wonder, deck of many things, bag of beans. all of those things are Gygaxian gambits laid down to test the mettle of a team, of a party.
Well, they're the giant red button on the wall that says "Do not press."
Do not press. Yeah.
And or the other way to think of it is the wet paint sign.
Yeah.
People just have the urge to. Is it wet? I'll see. Is it wet?
I actually caught flack in middle school because I had my Commodore 64 and I had a word processing software and a thermal printer I could print out. So I printed out signs that said dry paint, do touch, and stuck them on walls and doors. They were not impressed. Hell, I thought it was funny. Dry paint, do touch. But yes, the wand of wonder is absolutely the big red button that says don't, with a sign over it, don't push, and somebody's going to push it.
Yep, every time.
Every time. Now, I'll tell you another funny story about party disrupting items. And this is just one of those things that, like, I gotta go with I gotta go with the charts. Sometimes the tables, Kyle's watch phrase, the dice tell a story that neither the DM nor the player were expecting. In the campaign, at some point, the party drew a deck of many things, and they took some cards. Lost one player to the void. Another was able to defeat his death. The death card, a death appears, and they have to fight a minor death and defeat it. And the others were actually beneficial, but the party realized that the dumped was a bad deal. They sold it for the 1,000 gold or whatever it is it sells for. The remainder cards, with the caveat, some cards have been drawn. Far later in the same campaign, I'm rolling up random treasure, a deck of many things. I start describing it, and my buddy Scott, God rest his soul, says, I take the stack of plaques and I soak them in oil and put my torch to it. There was this pause, and he said, does anybody have a problem with that? And from around the table, nope, 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 nope. They got a second deck of many things and burned it immediately. There's something, and I gotta rant about this just a little bit. Now,
live and learn. Kyle
and I are like very much, we're two peas in a pod. So I can't say what you would or wouldn't do, Kyle, but somebody shared on the Discord, there's a new D&D module that has come out that is from that D&D book that's like everybody goes to magical high school or something. Let me see if I can find the link here. But everybody goes to magical high school, and there's magical prom and everything like that. And here's the adventure. This is you can download this if you want to damage yourself. Yes, I'm talking about Strixhaven, gentlemen. Those of you reading it. Free D&D adventure. Work at Strixhaven Fire Jolt Cafe and no tears spilled over coffee. And the adventure is as follows. The player characters are new hires at Strixhaven's famed Fire Jolt Cafe. When their manager suddenly grows ill, it's up to the players to keep the business running. Player objectives: clean the coffee machine, successfully fulfill drink orders during the morning rush, save customers from the monster in the newsstand, work together to complete a complex drink order. Why would I do this? Why would anyone? Why? Oh
Someone
my
who's
God,
lived
what?
for too long in Seattle. They've lived for too long in Seattle. Just
and before somebody takes me to task about being just a grumpy pants who hates fun, I would not play in a cyberpunk game where, it's like, okay, tonight you're all hardware repair specialists and sysadmins, and you've got to get through a day at the corporate office. Okay, so like the corporation is Arasaka, and we've got to uncover some black op they're doing. No, you're just going to repair servers and keep desktop machines running.
And I wouldn't want to play a character that's a middle-aged barbell coach either. So
yeah, there you go. And you and I have talked about, before about like, hey, if the game is good, it does, the designer, whatever, whoever, you ignore that, you ignore the artist and appreciate the art.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, this is a case where I think you can set that aside and say, no, this is crap. This is crap.
Well, but it's not art. I mean, it's not art. It's just like, it doesn't, art just depicts something about our lives. And, well, okay, speaking more broadly, I think any textbook or painting or piece of music or whatever has to do some combination of informing us and entertaining us. So your physics textbook has a lot of information. It's not very entertaining, unless you really love physics, but it has a lot of information. It educates you. And then your action movie, Commando, which I also watched the other day. That's not educational at all, but it is definitely entertaining.
So, I can make the argument otherwise, but go on.
Yeah. Well, okay, it's not educational in any way it intends to. We could say it educates us something about the culture of the 1980s. It educates us about how to make an absurd action movie or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I'm sure you could draw some lessons from it. But
hey, Bennett, let off some steam.
It's not educational in this. It's not educational in the same way that Calculus 101 is educational anyway. But and you could sort of argue, people will have these moral arguments about whether it's better to be educated or entertained, and or whether you need a certain amount of education to truly appreciate this entertainment, as elites will when they sell you, when they're admiring a painting which is just a slab of black. I mean, my son and I went to this museum in Adelaide, and one of the pieces of art was a mannequin which was totally covered with screws. Someone had just half screwed a bunch of screws in, not all the way, not just the tip, but half screwed all the screws in, totally over its entire body. There must have been 10,000 of the damn things there. What was that about? I don't know. I think you had to be educated to understand that art. But there are pieces out there, there are creations out there that fail on both counts. They neither educate nor entertain us. So I would argue that mannequin with the screws is one of them. And I would also argue that a module in which you play a barista also fails on both counts, because it's not going to teach you anything about being barista. We all know that it's shit, and your wages are shit. And the fun aspect for baristas will be the social interactions they have with customers and other staff during the day. I think we all know that. It's not going to educate us any further. And as for the entertainment value of it, well, I mean, it's everyday life. So how entertaining can it be? In order for everyday life presented in art to be entertaining, it has to be presented in a way that emphasizes the drama or the comedy, and that's why people watch sitcoms and things like Virgin River and everything. And again, you can argue about how realistic they are, but they're presenting everyday life. You know, Friends, people just sitting around talking shit, and Virgin River, people having emotional dramas and all the rest. So in that respect, they're showing something of everyday life, but in an entertaining way, the producers hope, and judging by their popularity, they must succeed. But a module about making coffees? No, mate.
I mean, it was a joke in the Dungeon Master's Guide. You know, it's called Papers and Paychecks. We place students and workers in a highly industrialized technological society. It was a joke for a reason. It wasn't an instruction. I'm sorry. Look, 5th edition, 4th edition, I don't care. I find the idea of your character goes to work in a Starbucks repellent. And you should too. If your imagination has been so deleted by the NPC society we live in that is your highest aspiration. Not the works of Fritz Leiber, not the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, not the words of Robert E. Howard. But I want to work in a Starbucks.
Well, that old story about like the players asking the GM, "Oh, how do these monsters in the dungeon even feed themselves?" And he just says, "There's a McDonald's. Fuck you. There's a McDonald's."
Yeah, fuck you. There's a McDonald's.
I guarantee that not one of the players' response was, "Can I work there?"
Yeah.
Get paid a copper a day and
and again, I don't care how. I mean, this is not team. I mean, it says you have to work together as a team. Like, literally, the first thing I would do in this module is say, my character takes off his apron and walks out the fucking door and goes to buy a sword. Who's with me? Or magical university students. Well, none of you are. Goodbye.
When I saw Seattle, you know, if you're going around with a sword, you might not be out of place, because they had a strong cosplaying culture, and they had guys out in the nearby woods filming medieval fantasy films. So
yes,
I don't know if they worked at Starbucks. The one I met worked at FedEx. So
I think I've told this story before, but I was out in Seattle back in 1994, which is a long time ago now. It was a very vibrant, artistic place. Even then, you know, you had the old grunge music scene was booming at the time. But I remember going into a comic and game shop with a friend, and there was a young lady at the counter, and she had a blueberry bagel. Her bagel, her manicured nails, and her hair were all the same shade of blue. It was really impressive. Nowadays, I see that and I'm just like, this is how Mother Nature says, keep away. But back then, I was like, that is really neat. Like, I didn't think it was weird at all. I just wanted to like stop and look.
But yeah, if the highest aspiration is being a barista, you know, I'm from the area. He's right. You just need to also have a kilt to go with a sword. You might know the same guy there, or have met the same guy then, Lord Corian.
Oh, wait a minute.
The guy I met. So this is from when I went to Seattle to do a barbell training thing, and Bill said, "Go see Raven C.S. McCracken while you're there," and I did. And he introduced me. We just wandered around. Raven was very hospitable and accommodating, and we wandered around for the day and had lunch and stuff. And he took us to meet his friend who was working at FedEx, who was this big bearded guy with a kilt. And this guy was talking about a medieval fantasy film that he and his friends were making out in the woods. I never got any links or anything about it, so I don't know what came of it. I hope they got to me. He certainly talked enthusiastically about it. Sounded pretty cool. But yeah, he had a kilt, so we may have met the same guy. And there was also a guy playing a piano, which had a bunch of. He might have been a sovereign citizen or something. I mean, it was a full upright piano out there in the square, and which seemed improvident to do in rainy Seattle to have. But anyway, it had a full upright piano there, and it had all these signs on it that about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and so I don't know. He might have been a sovereign citizen. I didn't know what one was then. What else was there? I don't know. But yeah, Raven was a character, and he knew some characters himself.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's something in the water now in Seattle that would make you create a D&D adventure where people are like, let's sit around and be coffee baristas. I mean, if you told me there was an independent game where everybody is a coffee barista in a quasi fantasy setting, but you work at the coffee shop. You don't go into dungeons. You've got bills to pay. You've got rent to pay in the big city. You're not going to get killed and eaten by a giant rat outside the city. You're going to stay and work in the coffee shop. I'd say, okay, that sounds like one of those 15 or 20 page indie games that gets given out for free every RPG day. Kyle's met the guy with like the long map pamphlet RPG rules thing that he was hawking. I would say, okay. But for that to get baked into D&D, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I grew up with higher fantasy aspirations than what if I had to do the same shit that I have to do for 52 hours a week so I can rent a quarter of an apartment, but at the tabletop and dice could cause me to fail. I saw this today and it short circuited my brain, and I'm trying to bring this back around to teamwork, but I don't want to because it's shit. It's a bad idea. It is a bad playing concept.
Well, the point is even when you're doing something. The point is that even when you're doing something boring and poorly paid, you still have to have teamwork. There's
okay. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle saying that
there's the caller at the cash register, right? They take the order and they call it, and they hand it over to the barista, who's the maker. I don't know what class that would be in D&D, but yeah, that's the maker, and they actually do it, and then they send it out. They're probably the archer because they just sort of say Kyle, and then they've spelled it QIL or something like that. and they shove the thing out at you, and so they basically the sling stone or the arrow or something. Somewhere there's a coffee with your name on it. They fling it at you, and you take it and go away. So yeah, but even doing something boring and poorly paid requires teamwork and requires a caller.
Fair enough. Thank you, Kyle, for saving the situation. I was in danger.
I can. This is my thing, Bill. I can bring anything back to barbell training and anything back to gaming as required at the time.
I was
sitting in this place with talking shit with these guys. They do about 45 minutes of actual work, and then there's 1.5 hours to 2 hours of the total session. So it's about half an hour to an hour of talking shit. I could bring anything back to barbell training or gaming as necessary. Light caramel mocha latte. My name is Vecna. You find the coffee or Vecna.
Eyeball floating in it.
It's black
It's
with no
black.
sweetness.
Black with no
It's
sweetness.
bitter with no sweetness at all. It's dark as the abyss.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore unless you or anyone in the comments wants to talk about it, because it was just so unbelievable. It was just I felt my brain snap shut in an attempt to defend itself from reading any
Well,
more.
I saw it the other day, Bill, but I didn't send it to you because I know both of us have, or many of us have struggled the last couple of years with the various stresses in our lives. So more recently, I've tried to just send people things that are either interesting or amusing, things that might actually cause the person emotional distress. I try not to pass on. So I'm not going to pass on stories of toddlers being backed over by SUVs and things like that, and things like abominations of D&D. I'm not going to send on either.
Right on. Well, at least this wouldn't get us demonetized, you know. Paul says adulting is just as hard as fighting dragons. Yeah, that's probably the mindset behind that. Adulting. You know, when I would hear that like used once every few months, once every quarter, we'll say, adulting. Yeah, you know, I get it.
Well, in Australia, we used to call them adult bookshops. So, so when I hear adulting, that's what makes me think of.
Yeah. Doomsword says, you may leave it alone, but they'll never leave you. Yeah, no, that's what over the holiday season before you came back, I was talking about this. This is quasi-serious, as serious as we're going to get, about why they're doing this, why Wizards of the Coast is continuing to do this. They're scooping out half of the gravy and they're adding more water. Then they're scooping out half of that and adding more water, and so why they're doing this. And there's been some speculation. I don't think there's any truth to it, to be honest, just because D&D is a cash cow right now. But there's been some speculation that this is part of Hasbro's marching order to WotC to primp and powder and put makeup on and clean up Dungeons and Dragons to make it so bland and so broadly appealing and so cooked tapioca like that it can be sold. I would dare say, and then some of the same people speculate, well, who might buy it? One of them was one of the possibilities that they said, well, maybe Tencent would buy it. Tencent is an arm of the Chinese Communist government, and if that happens, I won't go into what I'll do then. I mean, I'll keep playing classic D&D and keep talking about classic D&D. That'll never change. But some of
Have you seen Red Dawn? That's what I'll do.
That's what
you may take our lives, but you'll never take our dice.
Yeah. Wolverines. But another possibility was that seemed more realistic to me was the idea of saying that maybe Disney would pick it up, much as they did Marvel Comics. And Disney's purchase of Marvel Comics basically left Marvel fallow on the ground. They will neither do anything to right the ship that is Marvel, nor will they just cut it loose, because they can keep mining it for ideas for free to pump into their movies. If they did the same thing with Dungeons and Dragons, I can almost 120% guarantee you that they would kill classic Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, no more web sales of it, nothing. It would all, like, let's say the sale goes through on Wednesday, on Thursday, Drive Through RPG Now, D&D Classics, vanishes like a drop of water on the surface of the sun. They're not going to sell. They're not going to have something tied to them. D&D books that have nudity in them, gore. AD&D talks about drug use and alcohol use. All that, gone. And if you don't believe me, with all of the stuff that Disney's tapping out of Marvel Comics, how much discussion of Epic Illustrated, which is Marvel, basically Marvel Comics did their own magazine that was like heavy metal. How much Epic Illustrated has Marvel brought back to the fold? How many omnibus glorious deluxe editions of Epic Illustrated has Marvel reissued since they got bought by Disney? And that's the way it will be, because Epic Illustrated featured sex, it featured drug use, it featured nudity, it featured graphic violence. It was an adult comic magazine like heavy metal is. If Disney was to get their hands on Dungeons and Dragons, they would make classic D&D go away. So obviously I hope that never happens. I would rather see Wizards of the Coast. I would rather see Hasbro just say, you know what, we're just deleting Disney, or rather we're just deleting Dungeons and Dragons. It's gone. It's nothing ever. We don't care about the IP anymore. It's gone. Then Disney get their hands on it.
Well, I mean, whether there's sales coming up or not, I don't think you need an upcoming sale or plans for an upcoming sales to explain it. I think it's just the nature of companies above any size just start trying to avoid any kind of controversy whatsoever, and they just kind of bland out. It happens with every kind of company, whatever their product or service. They just kind of bland it out, and they try to be less and less offensive, because especially in modern day online culture, you offend the wrong person and all hell breaks loose and there's drama. And the fact is that in most cases, if you just wait it out, it'll go away. But the CEO gets disturbed from their slumber, and is actually asked to do something or speak to the media or whatever, and they want to not be disturbed and to go back to doing what they were doing, which was nothing. And so they just instinctively bland it all out. I mean, it's a bit like how here in Victoria, the local council administrations, they'll do all this. They'll put up all the signs and barriers and everything to keep everyone safe, because they're worried about lawsuits. And the fact is that they spend this much money on prevention when they would only have to pay out this much money in lawsuits, because what they're really concerned about is not the lawsuits, but bad press and bad media and bad reputation. That's what really concerns them, the controversy. So I think it's similar with all this kind of stuff. So I think it's just the nature of it. Like a small company or a small group of people, they don't really care if they're controversial, because they just stay within their group. But as you rise up in society, you become more and more worried about offending people in general. Not everyone does, but in general. So I think that's just human nature. When you're a first level fighter, you can just go around hacking and abusing people. When you're in the 9th level and you want to clear the surrounding hexes of monsters, all of a sudden, and those peasants that are paying you that 1 silver a month each in taxes, they come to you with requests, and they start getting offended at things that you said or did. So that's just the nature of it. You want to have that stronghold, you're going to have to deal with the grumbling peasants.
Yeah, yeah, it's, you know, unfortunate reality. But I don't believe that Hasbro is going to do that. I don't think Hasbro is going to sell Dungeons and Dragons. At the worst, I think they would they would throw it back in the fridge. You know, there'd be they keep a lot of lifestyle stuff churning, and have like the core books and the starter set, and then just not worry about development for a while until they saw a monetary reason to develop it.
Yeah,
But
well, I think it's another argument though to just get things in print. You know, I saw earlier this week someone was talking about there was some old product or whatever that was being withdrawn, and Paizo was going to eliminate slavery from all their future D&D modules, and then somebody else said like the PDFs of some module or other are all being changed to remove something offensive. I can't remember, mentions of race or sex or something. Can't remember, something offensive.
right,
And my response is you get a printed copy. Because if you've got a printed copy of your book, it doesn't matter if I, next week become transgender or become a Nazi. You've still got and change the book accordingly. You've still got a printed copy of what I made earlier that you prefer. So, the same goes for all the D&D stuff, I think, and every game out there. If you like it, get a printed copy of it, even if you have to send it to Lulu or take it down to your office supplies store or whatever. Organize it for yourself, and then nobody can take it off you without robbing your house, and then you've got other problems.
right. You look, the jewelry and the coin collection are in that wooden box on the dresser. Stay away from my AD&D books, man.
Well, if you got the wood grain box, then it's worth more than the jewelry anyway.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. You know, if I was if I had a Woody set here at the house, like I'd be
Sorry.
No, I set myself up for that one. If I had a wood grain set here at the house, I would be I'd be terrified if something would happen to you. I'd take it down to the bank. I'd put it in a safety deposit box. Actually, no. If I had a wood grain set, I'd test the market and probably sell it right now. Just I've got original Dungeons and Dragons, and all but like 2 places they all say Balrog, Hobbit, and Ent. That's the funny thing is a lot of people harp on about OD&D got rid of Balrogs, Hobbits, and Ents. Only in like 3 places. I guess the Tolkien estate didn't read past like the Men in Magic set from the Men in Magic book from OD&D. There's all right, that's sufficient, because they're Ents and Balrogs and Hobbits throughout all of the other books. So bully on Gygax and Company for only appearing to knuckle under.
Yeah, so we've gone from teamwork to get your own printed copies of things.
Yes. Well, to circle back around to teamwork, one of the one of the interesting things about is a lot of people have complained, like there's the quadratic magic user and the geometric fighter or something like that. Magic users get hugely more powerful, and fighters stay, they just go in little stair step progressions as they go. That is bitter non-gamer talk. Magic users, look at the most powerful magic user in AD&D. Realistically, yes, the progression goes up to 20th level or 25th level or something like that. But realistically, it's never going to come into play that the magic user is able to cast 9 spells a day that can alter the nature of reality itself. The magic user is not going to be able to cast like 9 wishes in this in the course of a day. That's just I'm sorry. If you were a kid and you played D&D to the no, we played over summer, and Tommy started out as a first level magic user, and 2 weeks before school he was 25th level and he was just running the entire game. Come on. Then something was broken with your game, not with D&D in general. Teamwork is still needed, guys. It doesn't matter what scale you go on. If the dungeon master is still sending you into the dungeon stronghold of 101 orcs and a couple of ogres, and you're all like 14th and 15th level, yes, the magic user is going to be annoyingly in charge, or the cleric, or the illusionist, or the druid. But realistically, if you're hitting them with challenges, if you're being a good DM and you're hitting the party with challenges, or if you have a good DM who's hitting your party with challenges, magic users are going to break right around the same point as they do at 4th and 5th level. They're going to be like, that's it. I got to step back and prepare flaming oil and be ready with a satchel full of bandages for you guys.
Well, I mean, you've got to think of other things too. Like, I mean, a 9th level magic user is going to have a maximum of 36 hit points. Assuming they don't have a constitution bonus, they're going to have a maximum of 36 hit points, and they're going to have an average of 20 something. And whereas the 9th level fighter will be able to have a couple of goes at them, swing, and we'll probably hit that poor unarmored magic user and wipe them out. So as long as they attack first. So even if you think of this mythical one versus the other, that magic user is still pretty vulnerable. And so then it will come down to the magical items that each have, because it will be an unusual 9th level character of either class that has no magical items. But as I've said many times before, far more important than level is how intelligent the player is. And that's where it comes back to that teamwork. And thus the story that don't have time to tell again today, but I've told many times before here, of the John and the other players at like 1st to 3rd level defeating the mummies.
The rock drill versus mummies.
Drill versus mummy. They just drilled a hole in a sarcophagi and poured oil in and boiled it and set fire to it. And cast hold portal on one sarcophagus and the whole party sat on top of the other one, so the mummy couldn't get out. So they didn't use any magic at all. None of them swang their weapons even once in that particular encounter. Swung. So their level and their stats and all the rest just didn't matter. So intelligent play will get you that, where that doesn't matter. Intelligent play and teamwork, because that was John's idea. He acted as leader, and then the others had to follow along, though. They had to sit on top of the sarcophagus. If any of them had rushed off and said, "No, I will fight the mummy by myself," then if they'd done a Leroy Jenkins, they would have died horribly. Teamwork and intelligent play are far more important than levels and all the rest. And then after that, it's just down to the dice. You can be really lucky or really unlucky, whatever else you're doing. So, as you said, bit of non-gamers. It comes back to that thing I've quoted many times of S. John Ross when he was a moderator on the GURPS mailing list, saying that get rules questions, and he could always tell the questions that came from actual play and the questions that came from just reading the book. Because there are things that when you read the book seem like issues but turn out not to be in play, and there are things which when you read the book seem like they'll work really well and they turn out not to work so well in play. It's not until you actually play AD&D that you realize that the initiative rules are all over the place. they seem straightforward enough at first, but once you play, you realize they're all over the place. And there are other things that seem like issues, like armor class and that. Oh, but armor class is not realistic, blah, blah, blah. And then when you actually play, you find it's not an issue at all.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff that people, regardless of whether it's team play or not, spend, a lot of energy worrying about and a lot of time wringing their hands over, like, oh, no, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't, when you sit down at the table, it all just kind of falls away and it all just works.
Yeah.
And the meta of teamwork is not just in game, but at the table. It goes back to what I was saying about either having a call, or you were saying, one of us was saying about having a caller. A competent DM and players who are goal oriented, that's good teamwork. Even if the DM is playing adversarially, as long as he's being even-handed and as long as he's being just in his adjudications, that's a team working together. And working contra to that, like, I'm going to argue every point with you, and I'm going to talk over the other players, and I'm going to go out of order, and I'm not going to pay attention to what the caller said. Even if you have a team that somewhat inside the game functions, outside the game they don't, it's not going to matter, because you're never going to get off the ground. So team play is just as important as team play within the game. If I'm being clear, if that's not too muddy.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Let's work as a team and do it my way.
Exactly. Is that there's a great bit in Starship Troopers where the unit wants to rename from the Razak's Roughnecks to the name of the new commanding officer, and he said, "Well, you put it to a vote and decided. Okay, well, I guess I'm the deciding vote. I decide against it. The against carries. We're not changing the name." Military democracy in action. Kyle, what have you got for us next week? What are we going to do next week, buddy?
I have no idea. This is a new year. I don't make New Year's resolutions and stuff. I start the new year with no plans whatsoever and see what happens.
Well, that sounds spiffy. I have an idea. I'm going to throw this out there, and if you folks on the want to put your yays or nays down in the comments, rather like Robert A. Heinlein, I will apply military democracy to your votes. We have talked in the past about filling the hex. And I think it's a topic that not only for interesting discussion merits going over, it's because our first filling the hex video has barely audible audio on it.
Yeah.
So what do you say next week? We have a crack at the Dungeon Master's Guide, and we take a look at a little bit of hex crawling.
Yeah.
And we can follow it up.
I had an article on that. I'll find the link.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. I'll find the link and I'll send it to you guys.
All right, Kyle's going to share this, and I'll put it up on Soul Store for a bit.
There we go.
Copy paste.
So I've set that to Bill so he can put it in the description or something. Maybe put it in the description for next week.
I will do that. I will share it here. Looks like we're getting some positive feedback on that. But if you guys want to go, check that link out there that I've shared in the chat, you can do that, and just kind of a appetizer for next week. You feel free to do that, and we can see how the hex populates. And it doesn't, it doesn't have to be just an in a vacuum hypothetical study, but Kyle and I'll figure out the details, and we'll spring something fun on you guys next week. Only if it's a hex crawl through fantasy cafes. Lord Corion, you're fired. Anyway, no, that's not funny. But yeah, we'll spice it up. It won't just be like if you were one of the 2 people listening to the first couple of streams that we did. It won't just be we're just going to repeat the information again. We'll throw some new stuff in there for you. So any parting thoughts, Kyle, on the new studio? I know it's new studio in the software sense, but I think it's pretty neat. I think this is a lot of fun.
It works better as usual. I am the weakest link with my internet speed and my tech savvy and all the rest. But we can't help that. No amount of software on your end can make up for my retardation. So seems to work well.
Indeed, it does seem to be working well, and it's great. Again, you know who you are, who donated the funds, so we could immediately, rather than months from now, jump into using StreamYard to go out to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, and not have the StreamYard logo over here.
Well, we need to drive the Facebook ones to YouTube, so then we hit the 1K subscribers.
Yes, because folks, God bless you. We have had a huge surge of people coming on YouTube. We're now up to 860 subscribers. We're 140 subscribers. We are this close, guys. We are this close to having enough subs to do the great underground online gaming convention, and I am so stoked about it. Kyle's going to run games. I'm going to run games. There's already people who want to be at that con and run games, and we're going to do that. We're going to celebrate 1,000 subs with that. As you've seen scrolling across the bottom, also we have a Patreon link now. If you want to sign up on Patreon, we have that. And in just a little while, we are going to be live streaming the Tuesday night fights, the AD&D game, with myself and a few other players. So there may be a break in that. I'll step away, but the stream will keep going. So it won't be like, oh, you'll have to come back later and find us again on YouTube. So, but I believe you need to hit the road, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, my friend, it is a pleasure to have you here. I wish you could be here every night. I honestly, or every morning, as the case may be. I wish you could be co-host every time we go around. But I am glad for the time that we do get to spend with you, because you're awesome. And thank you very much. So stick around, everyone. We're going to be starting up that AD&D game very shortly as the players file into the green room. That will be kicking off not too far from now at about 8:30 Central. But I'll hold court on anything else that springs up to mind. Kyle, thank you for being here. And
thanks very much.
Have a lovely evening. Take care of yourself.
See you guys, and remember, the dice are always right.
The dice are always right. It's always fun to have Kyle here, folks, isn't it? I have the best co-host in the podcast streaming business, in my opinion. Kyle is a takes no shit kind of guy, and he's absolutely awesome. 8 Mobius, we are about now. I'm going to check the numbers real quick. Because I'm sure if I say, oh, it's 210 people, it's going to be less. So, but I think it's about 140. Unless I've just had a bunch of people just drop off and quit. And I don't think I have. I honestly don't think I have. So we're 859. I thought we were at 860. We're at 859 subs. So we're 141 subs shy of hitting 1,000 subs. And when we get to 1,000 subs, the great underground online gaming convention will happen. Now, when I say it will happen, I don't mean like, guys, we got 1,000 subs. We're starting now. I mean, then I can plan for it. Then I can pick a date and everything. Because obviously I'll have to have time to pick a date. So, but yeah, that will that will be a thing. Now, I want to take a moment. I want to take a moment now to share this. Let me see if this will this work. Did that come up on the screen? It did. Folks, we have several Patreons who already support the channel, and I just want to take a minute to thank them. Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru 1, 8 Mobius 8, Kevin Reynolds, Joseph Lucas, John David, and I'm going to come back to John David in just a second, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damian X247, and James F. Keck. And I think now, I could be wrong about this. I probably am wrong about this. Did somebody else recently sign up and I not add them? Suddenly that's flashing in my mind, and I'm terrified that I might have forgotten them. The Pirate Beowulf has subscribed to you on YouTube. Well, thank you, the Pirate Beowulf. Thank you very much. Let me see here. I think I have it. Yes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your support. Hey, Mobius, time to make some dummy accounts. No, I really would prefer people be subbed. But I do appreciate the enthusiasm. So that is lovely. But I want to take a moment here. I want to get serious here for a second, because if you're not on the Discord, yes, we have a Discord. But this is not something I'm proud of. I'm actually rather embarrassed about this. So John David is a Patreon, and he was like one of the first guys out of the chute on Patreon. He back just before New Year's, so it's 12 days ago, he bought a copy of The Lost Crypt, the one that I have plenty in stock of, that when I talked to him, I swore up and down I had autographed copies by myself and Tracy Lesh. The New Year's came and went. I got busy. I took care of stuff. He understood. And then I said, oh, crap, I got to mail this to John David. And I grabbed my box and I said, I'm going to find one in good shape. And I started leafing through them. I don't have any left that are autographed by myself and Tracy Lesh. Now, Tracy is adjacent to me. He is up the highway a bit from me. I dropped the ball. John has sent me money and I dropped the ball. And I am mortified by that fact. I will get with Tracy and I will get the autograph set to him and what I consider adequate recompense, because you have waited more than long enough. That is not my MO. My MO when people ask for things or when I create things is to get them to them in good order. My absolute sincerest apologies go not just to John David, but especially to John David, but to anyone who looks on this as a failing on my part, because it is. I am sorry. It was not my intention to take your money and run off to Belize with it. Belize it. So if you've gotten, or if you plan to order a module from me, that is not typical. That is not how I operate. And John, thank you for your purchase. And I apologize to you personally. And there's no excuses, okay? This is not like, well, my hamster died, and then, the goldfish I got to replace it died, and then I stubbed my toe on the way to the car, so that wrecked a whole week. No, it just dropping the ball, just falling down. And there's no excuse for it. So I apologize to you, John David. It was just, I dropped the ball. So I will get you that module. I will overnight it to you, and I will send something. Nicer. Well, I'll send you what you asked for, but I'll throw in something extra in there. I just, right out of the chute, I've got these, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got these 13, 14, 11. I've got these 11 Patreons. And it's not a great first impression when, I can't, I can't keep up with one simple purchase like that. That's not the way I operate. So I, again, apologize to John David, and you'll get your stuff. You get your stuff the next year. So sorry, I was just answering someone's question in Discord there. So anyway, I just wanted to lay that out there. I didn't want to trip up Kyle, because Kyle's usually on a Tally says, I need a henchman. Maybe I should just cave in, and 2022 be the year that I actually get some staff. Yeah, so something that I have been wanting to do, to go back to the positive, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to temporarily, I'll put that Patreons list back up there later. Anyway, something I have wanted to do. Now, we are playing AD&D tonight. If you're here for watching the AD&D later when that kicks off, that's great. But I don't think we've had a good meet the players yet for the D&D group. I mean, we've just kind of thrown you guys in, and it's been jank. And one of the great things about StreamYard, and Kyle was like, what's so awesome about StreamYard? I'm sorry, Kyle, apologize for that, is it will make online gaming a lot easier. Discord is a great steaming pile for streaming a game to you guys, I think. StreamYard, however, allows me to just add a bunch of guests, and I can switch cameras and everything else. And I don't, all the conveniences of StreamYard, of a web-based streaming service and everything else, none of the hassles of Discord. So I can add those guys just like that. So I was thinking, if you guys were game, why not just bring together the group, and we can have a little bit of pregame chat before we jump into it. So if they're amenable, because I've got some folks actually waiting in the green room right now, if they're amenable, I can add them to the chat. Corian says, Discord was great when it was just chat and voice focused. I don't need another Steam. Yeah, I agree with you. I concur. So I'm going to do one thing real quick here. And let's see. Hey, how are you, my friend?
Hi-yo. Same old, same old. Am I coming through okay? Everything all right?
Yeah, you are 5 by 5, as they say.
Excellent. Well, good. At least it's picking up my snowball, so that's fine.
Corian says, bring on the victims. I mean, players. That is hurtful language. I have never... I create opportunities for players to excel as Dungeons and Dragons players.
No, what you create are iron golems dressed in women's skin and asleep in beds for level 1 parties to go die on. That's what you create, sir.
You guys just as easily could have ignored her.
All I did was poke and walk away. I'm not the one that hit. I'm not the one that hit the broad with the door.
That's very true. You poked and walked away. You saw the danger, and you left. So what's the complaint?
But an iron golem against a level 1, maybe generously 3 party, an iron golem, really, Bill? Really?
It is Castle Greyhawk. It is a nightmare wonderland.
But there's also a thing in D&D called level scaling.
You, sir, are treading dangerously close to trying to fetter me with challenge rating, and I will not have it.
No, but only an ass, which you may contend to be, will so far throw an iron golem against a level 1 party, or at least make it a good possibility. I didn't
throw her against you. She was lying docilely in bed.
Okay, with a sign and a door that says "Do not open," which of course means what to all players? Means open.
Oh my gosh. I don't need to sit here and be insulted by you. I have an entire house full of people waiting to insult me, sir.
But if we can't sit here and heckle you, then how can you call yourself a DM?
That's very true. I have to be able to take it as much as I dish it out. We have a question from Damien. I'll put this up on Stillstar. How do you know that it was skin and not that the iron golem was forged in the shape of a woman?
There was a weird coding.
He's got the right of it. It was an iron golem forged in the shape of a woman, and she wasn't even small. She was still like the 12 feet tall.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part. That's why I poked her with the pointy thing. Your typical average princess won't be even a giant princess. I don't think is anyone anybody wants to mess with.
Well, I'm going to let someone else who I'm sure, one of the players who I'm sure will see things a little more even-handedly than you. Let's welcome Mark to the stream. Let me
mute.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, how's my audio?
Your audio is great. You are crystal clear.
Sweet.
No, it's just heckling Jim. Sorry, I was just heckling Bill about the Iron Golem encounter.
Oh yeah. We were doing the right thing, and then a certain someone, no one present, decided to use the door was a good idea. Yeah.
Drink potion of fire giant strength. Apply door liberally.
Yeah. Well, he had somewhat of a point. He drank the potion. He has to use it. It would be a waste otherwise.
You can throw the door.
Yeah. Improvised missile weapon.
Yeah, really. No, I think we did everything right in that encounter. I'm amazed I didn't die in that. But I'm sorry you lost your character to poison.
Yeah, that was dumb. I'm not sure if there's a good way around that. You know, you have to test your potions, and if one of them is poison, well, crap.
I mean, do you think the poison save should be easier or something?
No, literally, I missed by 1 point. It was so close.
But that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It could be like, you know, save at +4 or whatever, because like you're only drinking what? How much? Not even.
Just a taste. Like maybe it could have been took damage.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
I don't know.
well,
I was sitting here heckling Bill, so I figured we could heckle him about something else. He said
Well,
you'd be far more positive towards him.
Well, actually, this is a case where I've been meaning to sort of ask Bill as a DM. Maybe I'll DM someday.
Sure.
This situation, you know, player wants to test potions. It seems to be the way to figure out what potions are. But poison is instant kill. I'm sure that's Gary's great idea of a good time. Gary Gygax's great idea of a good time. But maybe there's some other way. How do I tell it's a potion of poison without dying?
Identify.
Yeah, identify.
I know. I give my players a d20 roll.
So easy. Identify.
All right.
Hey, James.
Hey,
Speaking
guys.
of the person with the door.
The person with the door. So this, I have the most of the adventure, but now we have another player hopefully joining us tonight. Actually, it's John David. Will hopefully be joining us tonight. He's not here yet. And to be sure, this is pregame. This is like the pregame warm up. And Samalama, I think, really puts the fine point of it. What kind of a level 1 party attacks a poor defenseless iron golem? Really, James? Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Not a bit. It was fun. I had to try. But I made my poison save against that gaseous cloud that it was spewing out. I probably would have bashed it a couple more times.
Weren't you playing a thief?
Yeah.
So your poison save was really crap, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Yeah. So Damien says, how better to show off to your wizard buddies than having your castle defended by an iron golem crafted in the shape of a 12-foot tall, beautiful woman?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Manticores are nice. You can have a conversation with them.
Maybe
so you want to encounter a manticore? All right. So let it be done.
I think a manticore is a fairer fight.
Don't give them any ideas.
We could always
Ricky's been insistent that I'm a bad DM, and if that's his idea of good DMing, then you guys will face a manticore tonight. Who am I to argue with the wisdom of my esteemed, learned players?
Speaking of, who won the football game?
I'm sorry, we're having some trouble hearing Kyle. We appear to have lost Kyle. What a shame. Anyway,
so, who won the football game, by the way?
Well, Georgia won handily, actually. So
I'm trying to remember if that means
our characters are going to die, right?
We're all dead. You want to resign the stream now, guys? I mean, come on.
I'll start rolling up my new character.
Kelly says, why not Will-O-Wisp? Why not? Indeed.
I can see this comment thread going here. Can I join that somehow?
Comments. Okay, so responses to comments will be. You will actually have to type into
YouTube
into the YouTube comments. So
okay.
And where are you seeing the comment thread? By there it is.
Yeah, private chat and comments. On
That
side of my screen. That side.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, and if you obviously they can hear. So if you say, if somebody says, I think your character should jump backwards naked into a dragon's mouth, and you say something, they're going to hear you say, no, that's a darn stupid idea. I would cover
That's a
myself with
fantastic
barbecue
idea.
sauce first. Gollum is a one-time payment. Manticore has to be paid out on a regular basis. Yeah, pretty much.
Have an army of kobolds.
But yes, if anyone is ever on the stream and you wish to also engage on YouTube, you'll have to have a YouTube tab open. But one thing I can recommend for the sake of your ears' sanity, I'm trying to figure out what the best look is. There we go. We'll go to the Foursquare when we get going on the game, but or we may leave it like this depending on whether or not I'm going to have a map show out there. But whatever. If you're on the show and you wanna type things in on YouTube, mute the YouTube tab. Just trust me, because our real-time communications here run about 10 seconds ahead of YouTube keeping up, or Facebook. Hello, quick save F5. I bind quick save to F6. I have to. The F5 on my Model M keyboard is very broken, unfortunately. But yeah, so just keep your volume turned down, especially if you have speakers, because then start getting feedback. But getting a little error. Okay, that's better.
Does anyone need a reminder as to who our characters are?
Yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and tell us about your characters, your current characters.
Do you guys want to start?
Go ahead.
Oh God.
I guess
Okay. Great. Go ahead. By all means. We can sit and gesture all night.
Go.
Okay,
All
fine.
right. Yes, go, please.
Current character. Jinan, a fighter, high strength, high dex. Also has a small retinue of 4 Lightfoot that he likes to order around. Fights with 2 weapons, and that worked out pretty well last week. Try it again. That's as much as I can say about him. There won't be any backstory if he doesn't survive. The backstory will be created if he survives. James, you're next.
Oh, I'm next. Okay, I'm in the middle. Okay, I'm playing 2 characters now because I got tired of dying so quickly and having to sit there and watch the rest of the guys play. The first is my specialty priest of Celestian, name of Valoric New Matheson. He's a neutral good human. He's your run-of-the-mill priest of the specialty sort. One of the special deals that the priests of Celestian have is they actually get to use short swords and spears if they need to. Yeah, he's decked out in chainmail. He's got several spells to pull from. He's doing pretty good so far. He's been hanging in there. And then, of course, there's Bajibus, my high elf magic user. Chaotic good. He's your typical magic user, 4 hit points, 8 armor class. And his so far, his best spell has been ventriloquism. I have burning hands, but after reading through the first edition rules, we found out that only does like 1 point of damage. So I could light a torch or maybe a candle or something.
Also very short range.
You can bump off a kobold.
Range, practically touch. But he is pretty handy with his dagger. He's done some carving with his dagger here in the last session. So maybe he'll survive. We'll see. Ricky.
Maybe we can upgrade Bajibus to a meat cleaver. Be really scary then. I'm playing Sir Average. I have nothing above a 14. So I'm literally average in everything. He is a dwarf. He is a dwarf fighter with a loving loving gift from the DM, being my my lovely gauntlets of ogre power or giant strength, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. All I know is I have gloves and they make me swole. And that's pretty much it. He has an affinity for pole arms, which, of course, if you're here and you know anything about me, you know I'm a medieval nut, a medieval historian actually. So pole arms are my friend.
Do you favor the Volsglaive, the ox tongue, the bill hook, the Lochaber axe, the
Lochaber axe is wrong time period. Damn it, Gygax, you got that entirely freaking wrong. That's an 18th century pole arm.
I knew I
die.
I knew I could do it.
Go in the hole and die. Give me a sword fight.
And so now James and I will just sit back. You guys will just yell for a while about pole arms, and then we'll get to the game.
Oh no, I'm done. It's wind him up and just let him walk.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. He'll yell about pole arms for a while.
It just didn't. The whole game's an anachronism, so there's no point getting bent out of shape. But still. But if I'm gonna have a Lochaber axe like that, I want guns in my game because they go hand in hand. Like I want both,
as the case may be.
Real spellcasters only take utility spells from Lord Corion.
In AD&D, there's a fair argument for that.
Well, real first edition AD&D spellcasters only take what the DM gives them. First level spells. That's all I got was what Bill rolled up for me. So,
T. Kyle, what is your favorite polearm from Lord Corion?
I'm a fan of a good long bladed pike, like a sword pike, that kind of thing. Personally, a boar spear is nice. I'll be more than happy with a boar spear.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple. Quarterstaff is great. I practice with one actually. I just finished some German manual work for a quarterstaff, which was cool.
Actually, it's $1.25 quarterstaff, but don't tell him that.
Inflation these days, you know?
Yeah.
God.
Oh my gosh.
From the $1.25 tree instead of the dollar tree.
Yeah.
It's that $5 tree now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. I back at the beginning of last year, I toyed with the idea of doing like a second YouTube channel on tech. Just doing like tech build, like everybody is shut up at home. Everybody wanted stuff to do, sitting at home. So everybody was looking for some kind of gaming PC. When you have the influx of money we had from stimulus, and people stuck at home with nothing to do, and some pretty decent games that have come out over the last few years. Of course, all this combines into a perfect storm of let's play PC games or sitting at home. There's a few problems with that, because the same problems that force us to sit at home force people in Taiwan and China to sit at home, or in the case of China, to be welded into their homes. And that creates chip shortages. So the $250 high-end video card of 2019 and 2020 became an $800 video card. And it is now, depending on what scalpers you seek out, $1,500 video cards, and plus the boom in crypto mining. So ultra budget PCs that can squeak by on medium settings with AAA titles are a bit of a thing. And so I thought, hey, I'll go ultra budget, buy from government auctions, that sort of thing. And I'll do some videos putting together some machines. Well, Dollar Tree was my big go-to for ultra cheap gaming products, mice, keyboards, mats, that sort of thing. It's not Dollar Tree anymore. It's not Budget anymore. They're actually charging real money for them now. Although you can still get for $1, you can still get D&D dice at Dollar Tree. That is still a thing.
Weren't those like pink, like
Brown, the brown. Or
that's it. They look like they belong in the bottom of a fish tank.
Yeah, let me lean around here. Hang on a second. Do I have any of them in here? No, I do not. Okay, yeah, I've got all my my good like Holmes basic dice and my game science dice and so on and etc. in here. But yeah, no, I did buy a couple of sets, and the ones that I got are these sort of caramel brownish marbled looking dealies. I'm not one of those guys who's like, you have to do the warm saltwater test on your dice and then roll them 100 times and do a bell curve and throw away the ones that are by it. I'm just not. I don't have time for it. I don't have the patience for it. So I bought a few sets. They were neat. Or rather, it was neat to see them at
Dollar Tree.
The Dollar Tree. The end. That's the end of it.
Still my favorite dice. They're big enough to read across the table.
The banner on StreamYard covers 2Cal.
There we go.
Rolls like crap, though.
Yeah, Bill, after you talked about your Holmes basic dice, I still have one die from my Moldvay basic set, early to mid 80s.
What faces is it? I can't see it.
This is a 6-sider. It's the last one I've got. It's all rounded, but I don't use it for anything, but I keep it. It's like the one thing from those sets. I still have the set, but not the box.
I have a D10 from Star Frontiers, because Star Frontiers is only percentile based, and or actually I have 2 D10 from Star Frontiers, and then I have a Holmes set that I bought. Now, inexplicably, I don't know if these are just dice that people left here or what, but I also have a rather roundish looking Holmes D20. I'm not sure how that got into my collection of dice, but there it is. Or not Holmes, Moldvay basic D20. Doomsword says, I found a pack of 3 sets of decent ones at the Walmart and was blown away. I haven't seen the dice in a retail establishment since the heady days of Mentor. Yeah, if you go to Target and Walmart, both of those stores now sell RPG dice. If you have an FLGS, buy them there. Walmart and Target don't need your money. Your FLGS does. Unless you just want to run your FLGS out of business. Maybe you don't like them. I don't know.
They're not that friendly.
The F stands for fuck you. But the only other place that I would advise you to not buy dice from is Amazon, because good Lord, Jeff Bezos does not need your money either. And I'm not anti-capitalist. I'm not gonna run out there and tell you to, throw rocks through the Apple Store window or anything like that. Lord knows we have enough of that. But just there's a very clearly defined line between pro-capitalism and anti-competition, and Amazon is generally so far over it doesn't even merit discussing on this stream. But anyway, wherever you get your dice, I hope they roll well for you.
What's funny is the oldest die that I probably own is Mighty 20 from when I was like 8. which was like the first one I ever bought, which was here. But I can't use it anymore because the numbers are all worn off.
Oh,
So there's your size comparison.
It also shrank.
Well, no, that was literally the size
Yeah.
it was. This is my blind people dice. I can't even see this die anymore.
I was at my formerly friendly local game shop over the Christmas break, and I saw D20s that size. I should have picked one up.
You can get, and here's where I have to counter Bill here. You can get a whole set of like blind people dice like this on Amazon, which is sadly the only place you can find blind people really anything. And I mean the D6 and stuff you don't need, but the D20 is genuinely nice.
Yeah.
I have a large. I think those are 50 millimeter.
Something like that, yeah.
I have a 50 millimeter D20 that I bought at my FLGS. I have one too that's made out of brass, but I don't use it because it makes a hell of a lot of noise when it rolls, and rolling into painted miniatures or across Oregon Forge makes it a destructive device.
There we go. I got
so
the big,
Clang.
I got the blind guy dice too.
Yeah, so it sits over on a shelf and looks pretty, but I have no desire to use it at the tabletop. It's a chunk of brass. It's or bronze or something. It's metal and it's gold, and I know it's not gold like gold plated or but however your dice roll or wherever you get them, just remember, if you don't like the numbers, you can always get a soft crayon and color them back in to whatever you like.
Whiteout helps too.
Whiteout. Now, interesting.
Do I
Funny,
have
my dice only has 20s on it. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, right. Oh, I can't. I have my other D20 around here somewhere that because I have two of these, and one of these I coated with whiteout just to have it, and then the other one I wanted to keep the same. But yeah, that worked well. Of course, it wouldn't work if you're using like white dice or pink dice or whatever. But
yeah, when I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I recolored some dice, and one of them, let's see, is it this one? I don't know if this will be visible on camera. I wonder if I can. Let's see. Let's bring up the. Yeah, there we go. So I thought the thing to do would be to use a red crayon on a yellow die, and that's the results I got. Now, at arm's length.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was okay contrast. There's one other one that I did, which I actually think is not here in this tray. That was just like, yeah, that was probably a mistake. I know what it was. Is there was an orange D10 in the that thing. There's an orange D10 in there, and the dice are actually in the home set, which is across the room, where I used the red to color it in, and yeah, I'm very clearly going to have to go back and scoop that out with a toothpick or something and redo it in white, because that, or even black, because yeah, red on orange, a little hard to read.
I used a Sharpie for my repo dice. I think my reproduction home set. I just used a Sharpie for.
I think I saw somewhere someone was talking about paint markers. You could get.
Oh yeah, it was Captain Courageous, right?
Yeah. They come in different colors. You can get like red or blue or black or white or silver, whatever color.
I was looking for a set. I couldn't find them anywhere.
You probably have to look on Amazon.
Now there was one, and I want to see. I want to share this with you guys. If you're not into getting getting a set of these, and I'm not sure how available these still are. I think they limited them to like 1,000 sets or something. But Let me see if I can find this link real quick, and I will share it with you guys. If I am not, let's see, come on. Facebook is taking its own. Let's see. Threshold Dice Works. I'll share their Facebook page link. If Facebook, here we go. Threshold Dice Works. Check them out on Facebook, and you can also find them on Etsy, I think. Yeah, here's the link to their shop if you don't have a Facebook account and you don't want to fart around with it.
The Poly Hero dice are pretty cool. Have you ever heard of those?
I have not. No.
They're unconventional shaped, but like here's a D6 fireball. So they're unconventional shapes, but here's a D10 made to look like a potion bottle. I like these because they're big and clear to read. The D4 is my favorite though, because that's a D4 you can read.
Yeah, that is a D4 you can.
That read. Is a nice clear D4. I mean, here's a D8 scroll tube.
The niftiest D4s I've seen, and the guy who made them has not made any since then. And if you can find them floating around on eBay, they're like $15 a piece, and I'm just not going to spend that. It is a magic missile D4. So rather than having 1 through 4, it's got 2 through 5.
Nice.
You don't have to do the math. You can just throw a handful of D4s, but it will generate a number from 2 to 5.
That's the shape those are supposed to be, and they're supposed to be magic missile shaped.
No, that makes sense.
To me, I see potion bottle.
Yeah.
Right.
I see
as opposed to missile, but
Doomsword says the Gary Con sets, while not really the same thing, are cool and nice. They are kind of cool. I have a tube of them. I should put those on camera, but they're not at arm's length. But yeah, I have a set of the Gary Con dice that are essentially the Holmes dice. The D20 is a percentile D20, although it's colored wrong. The way you're supposed to do it is you color 10 of them. Like it's a white die, so you color 10 of them red and 10 of them green, or 10 of them red and 10 of them black, or whatever. So if you're rolling percentile, you can differentiate. But Chessex has always made nice dice. My only gripe with Chessex is what way back, once upon a time, you could get blank sharp edge dice from Chessex too. I don't know if they caught some heat from Game Science, or if it just wasn't worth it. They weren't selling, but they quit doing that many years ago, and you can only get the pre-inked rounded edged sets from Chessex.
I just want to comment on AWAG at YouTube. I agree. Pretty dice with a bag wins.
Yeah. Cheap commie dice. They're pretty game with a bag. There you go. No arguments or disputes there. Whatever works for you. I remember in middle school we were trying to play D&D with coins. Not like, I don't even remember the system we invented, but it was just like, okay, you roll a D6, you put 6 pennies in a cup and shake it up. Some kind of system. I think it's like the number of heads indicate the number on the die, that sort of thing. Because dice, very clearly laid out in the school's code of conduct, dice, cards, or any other gambling paraphernalia was expressly forbidden. Because you got to understand, I was in middle school in the early 1980s. Most of the teachers who were younger than I am now, far younger than I am now, and teaching there were born in the 1950s. So dice and cards meant, you were a little hoodlum with a cigarette behind your ear, and your white T-shirt with your sleeves rolled up and everything else, like something out of a production of West Side Story.
But there was the gambling we used to do with baseball cards, match and mismatch.
Yeah. So
and kids got really pissed off because you'd win and take their baseball cards.
So yeah, we were playing D&D with dice, and none of us got in trouble, but it was brought to a stop because they thought we were matching pennies. See, you can't win. And what eventually saved us was Steve Jackson's Sorcery, the choose your own adventure role-playing game books, single books. In the middle, on the bottom edge of the page, has random D6 faces printed. And you could flip through the book and stop and look at a page and read the D6 number off. So we just played Dungeons and Dragons with that. Like, I got that like over spring break or something, the first one, and I was like, it has a die built into it, so that's what we use.
Dang it, Bill! Quit flipping to page 52. Every time you get a crit, it's always page 52.
Oh, look, another 12. Sorry, guys. Joe Lucas says coins and D6s are how you play D&D in jail. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I have heard tales though of people who played Dungeons and Dragons in jail, and I've seen pictures of it. There was an article, I think it's in Vice or Kotaku or one of those alternate press websites, guys who played D&D in jail, and they, just like they made dice to play knucklebones with, to shoot craps with, they made dice out of toilet paper and like dried mashed potato powder. And a 20-sider, 8-sider, 4-sider, 6-sider. So I mean, I guess you could do coins in there. I have heard interesting stories about Dungeons and Dragons in jail. It's called Showers and Soap, though. Yeah.
I feel like GURPS would go well because like a 2d6 system or a 3d6 system, like that kind of thing, would go really well because it's just easier.
A friend of mine who is a friend of the show had told me that now this runs in contrary to something I heard from another friend who is in jail. The second friend, they played like the simplest D&D they could. Another friend got him a used copy of the basic and expert rules, not even the boxes, just the books themselves. The Tom Moldvay and Zeb Cook rules, just those to play D&D with, and they used whatever method they did for rolling dice. But the other fellow said that the big game was Pathfinder, and the reason Pathfinder was so popular was there is a rule for everything, and the people who played, like in AD&D, I'm the DM, and you guys have lost each a character, right?
At least, yeah.
At least, okay. To somebody on the outside who's not familiar with AD&D, might think that I'm being a capricious dick. Shut up. We laugh about that. We laugh and we joke about it. In jail, that could start a fight. Hey, why did you, this is like my third character you killed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I didn't even get like to roll on it. Yeah, but there's no saving throw for that. Sorry. That's just the way it is. And the next thing I know, I'm getting beat in the face with a sock full of batteries. Again, shut up.
But you deserve it, though.
But it deserves got nothing to do with it. But Ewick says, we don't think you're capricious at all. Oh, you don't think I'm capricious? But the fact that Pathfinder, the first one, is so rules heavy, you know, it's like, I want to talk to this person and try to convince him. Roll a die. Okay, add your skills and your stat bonus to it. You know, the threshold was 20. You rolled a 30. You're very compelling. And okay, great. You know, you move on. There's no question of the game master, the referee, the DM, whatever, just saying, nah, man, that's sorry, it doesn't work.
3.5 was like that too.
Yes. Oh, I mean, Pathfinder is just 3.5
Yeah.
continued out beyond the end of the pier, so to speak. So these are guys who need structure, who, you know, a lot of them are never going to get out of jail. And a lot of them, even if they are going to get out of jail, they've been in jail a really long time. So you don't have to play Mother May I, and you don't have to, you know, the dice decide what's going to happen, like in every other kind of game. So I found that to be an interesting point he brought up. So we're just about getting ready. For those of you who've been calmly waiting for this to actually turn into a Dungeons and Dragons game, it's happening. So let me just do one thing real quick here, and then we're going to...
I'll be right back.
I will say, as we're transitioning, one of the best things I've ever gotten from my dice were one of these,
Yes.
like dice, not just the trays though, but the actual dice holder. There they go.
Yep.
But the actual dice holder part, that's like, if I had that when I was a kid, it would have been dangerous because it would have made playing D&D in middle school and stuff so much easier.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. So once he returns, we will return
to dying in various horrible ways.
Well, the ways won't be various. Very specific ways you're going to die.
It's the whole Tomb of Horrors thing, right? We walk in and here's a character dying from impalement, and here's one dying from a gas trap, and here's one being sawed in half.
That's ridiculous. No one gets sawed in half in Tomb of Horrors.
Fair.
I mean, I suppose. No, nobody gets sawed in half.
I can't believe none of my players died until they got to the Demi-Lich. Once they got to the Demi-Lich, they kept going through characters until Asirak's soul gems were filled. So he couldn't suck up any more, then they beat him to death. But man, they did so good up until that point.
Well, maybe I'll run that module on stream. If you, the viewers, would like to see me run Tomb of Horrors, not with these guys, they know. But if you guys would like to see me run Tomb of Horrors as a live stream adventure for a few weeks, I doubt I could get it into one session. I suppose I could run one really long live stream. Go ahead and leave me a message. Obliterated in half. Yeah, I suppose if somebody like leaned in up to their waist in the sphere of annihilation in the entry hallway, that technically they're in half.
Power slide into it.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, just leave comments below and maybe we'll get together a group to do that. So I'm going to do this so you can see everyone's smiling face.
Hey.
There we are. And so when we last left the adventurers, everyone, when we last left this fun group, you all had gone into the castle and proceeded to commit some arson.
Woo!
Attempted arson. I don't think you've told us we've done
We
that.
haven't started
Attempted.
yet.
You opened the door and were throwing oil and so on the floor.
Yep.
When standing at the top of the stairs, you saw a skeletal figure in a black robe that reached out its bony hand and pointed.
At me, I think. But
Yes, pointed directly at
Jeanin.
Jeanin. Thank you. It doesn't say anything. It just stands there pointing its finger at you.
Kind of like evil monkey.
How mad,
yeah.
how mad would Jeanin be if I just shut the door and set him on fire and just left?
Don't want you to find out. I'll become a ghost and haunt you forever.
Just throw in the torch, close the door, walk away.
Does Valoric recognize what sort of creature this is? Is it undead that he might be able to?
You see a skeletal hand sticking out of the robes, and otherwise it is completely wrapped up in a cloak.
Okay.
It neither speaks nor moves other than to walk out on the landing and point accusingly in your general direction.
All right, I guess he'll hold up his holy symbol and start praying to his deity and trying to turn the thing away.
All right, so you're attempting to turn.
Yes.
Is someone else attempting to set the place on fire?
If memory serves, we have the place stacked with wood. We have all the oils already spread out.
Yeah.
I'm lighting a torch. Was our torch already lit?
All right.
Yeah.
Since we have a combat action going in, let's go ahead and we'll do initiative just to see what's going to happen first. Mark, are you doing anything in particular?
Yeah, Jeanin was sort of telling everybody, let's get out. And he was going to turn, like he's going to back out, keeping his eye on the figure.
And the men-at-arms are just outside at this point?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mine
All
are,
right.
yeah.
Then we'll start. Mark, roll initiative, please.
6.
Nice.
6. Okay, it is a tie. Pouring out of various side doors, cupboards, you think maybe a basement stair, are zombies.
Of course.
Your turn undead is happening at the same time, and you're attempting to turn away the wraith, and I don't mean that in the sense of that is the D&D monster, the spectral figure, the spooky haunted thing.
Yeah, we're dead if it's a wraith. So
Yeah, really.
Come on, what kind of a DM would I be if I send like a high hit die monster with special attacks?
Iron Golem.
I didn't send her after you. You went in there and beat her up.
Yeah, it's James.
We've done that here too.
And Tammy, by the way, was very upset with you for doing that. All right, so it is an initiative tie. The zombies are pushing their way forward. The door is a standard house door, so it's really only wide enough for a couple of them to move up to it. As you turn undead, give me a D20 roll.
got a 17.
A 17. The figure shuffles back the way it came. You're kind of clunking and clattering and thumping as it moves back. The zombie figures will, as I said, they will spend this round moving up. By the end of the round, you've got your oil out, or your torch rather, however you're going to ignite this conflagration. That's really all of the actions. You guys will go before the zombies. Initiative is not required. The party will go first. So those of you that are close near the door, tell me what you're doing now.
I guess if the zombies are on top of me, I'll do a fighting withdrawal with
Okay.
parry.
All right.
Because I've got a +2 to hit, so I think that gives me on the AC. So not trying to attack them, but just using all my defenses and getting us out of the door so that Sir Average can lob that torch in.
Okay.
And Valoric is standing outside the door, still praying and trying to turn these zombies away now.
Okay, so you're going to turn the zombies. The men-at-arms are not running, but they're...
They'll form a ring around
you
the
didn't think
door.
there'd be so many of them.
Stand firm, men.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and roll initiative, and James this time. All right, well, we don't really have to roll initiative. I just said there's zombies.
Wasted
You
that
go
one.
first. Hold up your symbol. Roll a d20.
Oh, a 13.
A 13 for a level 1 cleric. Now you're going to make me open up the Dungeon Master's Guide, because that's one of... If you'd rolled a 1, I would have said absolutely not. If you'd rolled a 20, I would have said absolutely. Let's see here. It is not far off the mark here, so 13. That is successful. The zombies begin to shuffle back away from the door. Roll a d12, please.
D12. Oh, a 9.
Well, the crowd at the front of the door is moving back, and if there are others, they are being held back by the wave of people who just have to get away from this.
Excellent.
Now, finally, Kyle. I'm sorry, Kyle. What's your character's name? Sir Average.
Sir Average, yeah.
Right,
I guess I'll throw the torch in, and axe in my other hand, provided our stalwart fighter here is out of the way.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a d20 roll on the torch toss.
We missed the house.
Yeah, really.
1.
Door frame and lands by the
14.
door.
14 is sufficient. It lands on the it lands on the porch. Let's see.
I didn't think I was that far away, but okay. I thought it was on the porch.
Oh, so you're still standing on the porch. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
For
I
some
thought
reason,
I
I
was
was mentally picturing you
doorway.
moving down the stairs. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you don't set anyone on fire. You throw your torch down, and the very, 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 very dry timber of the house is immediately, not all of it, not like the whole house, like cartoon style, goes up in a mushroom cloud, but the wood catches and begins to crackle and burn. Flames are whooshing and spreading across. The zombies inside, as I said, are spinning this round, retreating. We're going to roll initiative one more time. We actually are going to roll initiative. So I'll go ahead and roll that for the side, and I'll roll over here.
I got a 5 for the party.
All right, it's tied. So I will say those of you who are moving off of the porch, the flames are licking at your legs, but you're just quick enough to step out in a way and not take any damage other than a bit of singeing and scolding, because very quickly the house becomes, as they say in the business, fully involved. And it's going up in a lovely conflagration of red flames and black smoke.
Who brought the marshmallows?
Indeed.
I suggest we back up like 40, 50 feet.
Yeah.
Keep a watch out.
Load my
I put
crossbow.
my bow out. In case anything comes out that door, I can start taking pot shots at it.
I'll have my men-at-arms present spears just in case.
Yep, same with mine. Javelins in their case, but they can,
Jeebus
they
has
can
his
put the
back
javelin
ready.
first.
Alrighty. Nobody in my game, click that link and play it on stream. You'll get us knocked off YouTube. But anyway, that's
For everyone
going to
else.
Talking Heads burning down the house. Listen and enjoy. So Yeah, a couple of windows, couple of lower windows break, and you can see arms flailing out, bodies trying to push out to escape the flames soundlessly. It's kind of eerie. They're not screaming or anything. They're just sort of reacting to it. But the house is now completely on fire. And for a full turn, nothing comes looking for you if you wish to stand there and watch it burn.
That's what we do. We step back and watch it burn.
I mean, yeah, right.
But Jeeves will keep his eyes up and looking around, making sure nothing's going to be swooping down on us or keeping up behind us.
Okay.
Yeah.
There'll be an early warning siren.
Yeah.
Okay.
One place for us to keep an eye on is that well. Make sure nothing comes up it.
Yeah.
Just in case there's
all the zombies scorched and smoking just vomit up out of the well.
Oh God. I'm gonna keep half an eye on the gate behind us to make sure, like, because I know we left one minion back there.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep half an eye back that way.
That's right.
Okay.
I may only have 3 hirelings.
Valor's going to be ready with his holy symbol in case any of the zombies get out the window. He'll try to turn them away.
Okay.
Back into the burning building. Back.
Alrighty.
We should have dug a moat around the house.
Hey, we need to make a corral type fencing toward the cistern. That way they'll file in and fall into there, and then
stakes pointed in towards the house all the way around.
Yeah. They'll fall into the pit there and fight all the orcs and the hobgoblins and.
So as you're standing there examining your handiwork, from behind you, from behind all of you, you hear a voice remark, "Wow, that is some handiwork, guys. Well done." I mean, normally, I'm all about flames and that sort of thing.
Who's there?
Yeah, really, that's concerning.
There is a flat black skinned being, not much bigger actually no, really it's only about like half the size of a kobold, with wings and a long snaky tail that ends in a point. Just looking at the flames as they go, you can see he's kind of got some reddish hues to his skin as you examine him. The bulbous, almost comically big fat nose as he's watching it go up. Wow. Did you get the stuff out of it before you set it on fire?
Last time people tried that, they died. We're going to get the stuff after it's all melted.
Yeah, really. If any of it survives.
Do you think it was a bad idea? What's your name, by the way? I'm Geenan.
Oh, yeah. Hey, pleasure to meet you. One of my favorite villains of all time once said, "Names is for tombstones, baby." And I kind of subscribe to that anyway. I'm just a guy who hangs around Castle Greyhawk a lot, and I see a lot of scrubs come in, and they try and they try and explore places, and they stick their noses in places where they should. But you guys, I think you guys really got the talent here. Do you need any advice? Do you need any help? I know where there's a dragon, lots of treasure.
Valor slowly turns around with his holy symbol, holds it out just in case. He knows this is some sort of wild creature. So,
ooh, is that silver? That must have cost you about 50 gold on the open market in the city of Greyhawk?
He takes it back under his clothes. Like, never mind, I can't affect this thing.
So, you guys parboiled some zombies. Well done. You'll get some jewelry, some broken bottles, and ashes of scraps of paper. But I can tell you where the real treasure is.
Well, we don't go poking our nose in with dragons, but is there another way into this wretched hellhole that is not the sewer entrance?
Well, I can tell you, there's an express elevator in that tower over there, and he points to the one that's at the 12 o'clock position. You've got that tower over there. Now, over there, you've kind of he's pointing at the one that had the golem in it. You've kind of got to watch your step. Don't touch anything. Just be very careful as you're moving through, and you can find a very easy way down. The Tower of Armaments, I haven't been in there in a long time. I'm not even sure what's in there anymore. But if you want the quick way down, and let me tell you, all the good stuff is all the way at the bottom. I would take the express elevator in the Tower of Sorcery.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible idea. Thank you, my little friend.
It's
Hey,
very
see,
nice of you.
we're friends. I like that. We're friends already. This is
Very
great.
nice of you to offer this information. What do you want?
I'm sorry?
It's very nice that you're offering this information. What do you want?
Oh, I don't know. A little house by the river Styx, a few jars of larvae to torment for a couple of thousand millennia. What everybody wants, really.
Okay.
Oh, you meant from you. Well, I wasn't thinking of anything in particular, but if you're offering, a gold coin, a minor magic item, something like that or two. I mean, I can't exactly go into the city of Greyhawk looking like this, but something that could make life a little bit easier, an elven potato peeler, something like that. So what do you say? You guys want me to show you where all the fun stuff is instead of mucking about with dried up old houses, which, I mean, come on, take a look at this place. If you left for a month and came back, that place would be back exactly like it is right now. It's very weird here. The men-at-arms are standing kind of slack-jawed looking at this thing.
Well, I'm content to sit and wait until this is a hot pile of ashes and get our jewelry and a few pieces of broken glass and first.
Yeah.
We
worked hard for that burnt jewelry, thank you.
So,
I understand.
Friendly Mr. Devil.
You flatter me.
I am not familiar with hierarchies. I'm new to this adventuring thing, but from what I've heard from Sir Average here, who's the one with the most experience here, what you're suggesting is maybe a bad idea.
What do you mean?
My apologies, but it sounds like it's a bad idea. If we go to this dragon, for instance, we're going to get killed fast. Well, I'm sorry, is Sir Average doing something?
I mean,
a little bit of a bad idea.
Oh,
As quietly as you were having this conversation, you're just watching. You're just occasionally going.
Okay. I appreciate the information.
To be fair, some dragons I've known haven't been that keen on killing people quickly. They enslave some,
yes,
torture others, but killing, I mean, that really comes down to how you introduce yourself, how you carry yourselves.
Do you know the color?
Oh, yes, he's green.
Yeah, no.
So friendly, Mr. Devil. What do you know of? I want to ask a useful question. Can you tell us anything about what is in that cistern? We know there's orcs. We know there's hobgoblins. What else is down there?
Well, let's see. I think some bandits have taken up some residence down there. There's the hobgoblins. There's the orcs. The fun guys, really. And then off to the, I'm never sure about this. Off to it's my left, if I'm looking. I think it's to the west. There's all these twisty caverns. It's a maze of twisty passages, all alike.
All alike.
It's pitch black. You're likely to be eaten by a group.
Well,
I guess, as our friendly Mr. Devil here, he's been nice so far, so I will take a gold piece out and toss it over to him, saying thank you for the information you've given us so far.
He grabs it out of the air with his tail, just. You're too kind. Tucks it into presumably a vest pocket. It just a fold of skin, just tucks it away there. You're far too kind.
Valor wants to look back over his shoulder at the house to make sure there's nothing creeping up behind us now.
No, it's just
before the little angel goes. Can I make our valiant Sir Galahad an offer here? Since he's offering to have us go fight dragons on his behalf.
No, I didn't say you had to go fight dragons on my behalf. Now, don't put words in my mouth. I am just offering you information. I mean, come on, you guys. You want treasure, don't you? You want adventure, don't you? Who doesn't want to march back through the gates of the city of Greyhawk, dragging the head of a dragon behind you with bags of loot thrown over your shoulders?
So what you want is for us to be successful, right?
Sweetheart, I want everybody to be successful.
Exactly. So on the road to greater success, I have a proposition.
I'm all ears.
It may
and
cost
with that,
me
his body sprouts nothing but ears covering his surface. It is very disgusting to look at. Then he back to normal.
I mean, this may or may not cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, I don't know, a soul, not my soul, but a soul. How about an equal share of all of our treasure going forward? All of it, equal share, much as you can carry, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. Cartage is not my problem. I'll tax you on the road, so on and so forth. And you just be our eyes and ears just ahead of us. I'm sure you're good. You managed to sneak up on all of us. We didn't see you. I was looking out. I had my bow. I didn't shoot you. The other fighter here didn't shoot you. You didn't send off the cleric's alarm bells or anything like that. So you're really good at being unseen. So why don't you do us a favor and be unseen and just, I don't know, be our eyes and ears in exchange for an equal share. No danger, no threat. The moment something bad happens, you just poof yourself away and come back later. How's that sound?
Well, where would you like to go first? Understand, all of my knowledge and wit is focused really here in Castle Greyhawk. Think of me as a tour guide, if you will.
Well, Mr. Tour Guide, I'm not going to do anything without writing something out and signing a piece of paper. So I suggest we all, after our barbecue, retire so that we can have this in some kind of formal declaration with these young gentlemen serving as my witnesses.
Sir Average took levels of lawyer.
Indeed. I'm a dwarf. I have to have levels of lawyer.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I like you. I like the cut of your jib, and I think you've got what it takes to really make a small fortune. See, so many people get here, and just because 6 or 8 or 10 of their friends don't come home, they give up. This place is a gold mine. If you could see the piles of treasure that I have seen, oh my gosh. Anyway, the point is, if you've got some deal or some bargain and you wish for me to scout ahead for you, as you say, then by all means, let's go.
So does that sound good, gentlemen? It's my soul on the line, probably somebody else's soul on the line, a whole bunch of treasure on the line, but what have we got to lose?
Well, Valoric is shaking his head. He's like, these deals never go the way you hope they do.
100% not hoping for it to go well. Sir Average is hoping to get out alive and rich. That's it.
Jeannin thinks that this could work if we're very careful. The cost, the risk is high, but he wants to finish one thing first. This house is burning. When it's done, he wants to get whatever he can out of it.
Oh, by the way, nice job on the house. Are you guys arsonists by trade who just expanded out into dungeon adventuring? There was this orphanage in the city of well, that was a while back. I don't want to brag.
Everyone needs a hobby.
Exactly. So anyway, if you want to go write your little contract or whatever, I can stay here and watch this building burn all night long.
Gentlemen, do we want to stay here and wait? I think so.
Yeah.
I think at least some of us should wait.
Yeah.
We shouldn't all go back and leave. If this building miraculously comes back to life, I want to at least witness that craziness.
Yeah.
You want to watch it rebuild itself?
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you something. In all the years I've been here, even in things that I've broken with my own two little hands, it never does that when you're looking. It never does that when you're looking.
So never stop looking. Heard.
So,
Yay.
speaking of our handiwork, how is the building doing? Is it still in flames? Is it starting to maybe die down? We can look in.
No, I mean, it literally just like the conflagration had just started, and this conversation is more or less taking place in real time. So,
Oh yeah, so it's not that long. You're right.
yeah, no.
Well,
Time
I
lapse
think
time?
we should. Well, I think we should go up back to our cart, make sure it's okay, get some food, come back here. Maybe not stay here all night, but just keep an eye on this thing. Keep an eye on our friend, pointing at the devil, whatever it is.
Yeah, I tell you what, let's see how serious he is, right? If he'll hold to his word, if he'll keep watch, we'll come back in the morning, pick through the rubble, and what we find is what we'll split. Sound fair?
Okay.
So we're going to leave the little devil watching over the house of undead that is bound to just sort of miraculously come back to itself. And we're going to come in here, it's going to look all the same in the morning.
If the devil sits and keeps staring at it, it shouldn't rebuild itself. So
I
if
see
we
what you're
leave
trying to say.
him as his eyes on the building can't rebuild itself.
Clever. Too clever? Perhaps.
That's my running theory.
Well, we've got more oil, and we can probably find more wood. If we need to burn it again, we can do it again.
Give us another day. Another arson.
Do you get XP for arson?
Maybe.
Okay. Genan's, he thinks that there's some, okay, but his men are getting a little bit, he's worried that his men are not going to take this too well, so he needs to make sure he keeps the morale up, so yeah, let's back out.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So you deal with the little man, Sir Average.
I'll deal with Mr. We need a name for you. I cannot have your true name. I understand that. Ergo, the contract's not legally binding. Blah 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 blah.
Can you guess my name?
Yeah, really. Thousand Lock. No, wait.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Just
Okay.
call me Ira, and that can be the legally. I permit that to be legally binding on whatever paperwork you wish to introduce. Ira.
Cool. Let's go back and draw up some dwarf legalese.
Okay, I guess we head back to the longhouse. Steer clear of any problems.
All right, so you go back to camp. The men at arms are.
I want to try to have my men at arms, like, calm them down. Try to.
Yeah, they're like, is this some kind of evil spirit? Should we really be having traffic with this thing?
I'm honest with them that I am concerned about that. That I think this is a problem. We could be taking risk, but I think there might be a reward in it. And it is Sir Average's soul who's on the line.
I volunteer to distribute.
I've got a +10 reaction bonus if that helps. Mark here is not good at this sort of speechifying.
I mean, when it comes to the other two, the hirelings that I have and their reactions, they've watched every party go into this place and die. So this is the most success they've ever seen a group have, I think.
That's true. Those two hirelings you're tracking are older than all of our characters.
Experience-wise, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are the hirelings taking it? No.
They're kind of uncertain about this whole affair. Yeah, they don't. They'll follow your orders. They're getting paid, but they're like, we don't want that thing telling us what to do. Don't.
No,
that is.
No.
Valoric's going to go and pray to Celestian and see what he can see if he can get any divine guidance here under the stars.
All right. Are you praying for intervention or just looking for advice?
Mostly advice. Intervention would be fine, but advice is grand.
Don't do it stupid.
Don't sign anything.
Yeah, you've just got your faith and your belief in Celestian. I'm assuming you've done your homework and you know what Celestian's point of view, what the church point of view of this might be, but I will leave that to the player to discern unless you need my guidance as the DM, like, hey, I don't know what the church's point of view would be, in which case I will do my best to stand in for it. What are the rest of you doing?
Trying to be a good leader to my men, make sure they've got good food and drink, keep their spirits up, tell them to get a good rest, clean their weapons, try to keep them regimented, and hopefully that'll help them get through this. We know it's tough, we know it's fishy.
Then I'm going to sit and draw up the tightest dwarven contract money can buy. And by money can buy, I mean probably somewhere in the neighborhood of over 100 years of lawyer experience.
Bejeebus is going to grab a bite to eat, take a nap, and then he'll study his ventriloquism spell.
I'm probably going to sit and have to consult with Bejeebus here. just rope him in. So, pick his brain. So, these little small black guys, what do you know? Blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing. I'll pick his brain about it as I'm working, but I'll draw it up the same way with any other legal, agreement to terms of service, right? You agree to work for us in this location as long as we're here, and as long as we're here, you get A, B, C. It's that simple.
Right.
That simple.
So you spend the evening crafting what you think is a pretty watertight contract. You memorize your spells. Nothing untoward happens during the night. Men-at-Arms, the Link Boy, well fed. What do?
Tally-ho.
Yes, I want to go back and make sure. What's this?
Yeah,
Make
let's
sure
see
that,
if we have a house.
Yeah. That house is back.
Oh, God. If that house is back, I give up.
Go straight to the dragon.
Yeah, right. Eat me. Men in Black all over again. Eat me.
Covering myself in barbecue sauce, just like they said. All right. Yeah, no, you get back inside. It's not. The house hasn't regenerated. It's smoldering ruins.
Excellent.
Perfect.
You can see there's a number of charred skeletons lying in the rubble.
We're on Tatooine.
There's, like the back corner of the house is not completely collapsed, but everything else around it is. So it's like you're just looking at a couple of walls. It's not blocking anything or concealing anything. It's just collapsed timber and glowing embers and ash.
Start.
But Jeebus is going to go poke around in some of the stuff and see what he can see.
Yeah.
I'll call out to Ira and see if he's
they're
floating around. It's floating around.
Ira appears in a blink. Just hello.
Most excellent. I'm going to hand him a pen, and I'm going to borrow one of my followers' backs and just request that he just sign here, formality, so on and so forth. Initial
right.
here, check there.
He
Yes,
uses
you
the
agree.
tip of his tail. Somehow it's able to write.
That works.
He's got the classic pointed triangle point tail there, spade tail.
Cool. Well, since your job is to be our eyes and ears around here, do me a favor. Be our eyes and ears around here while we go and poke through this debris and see if we can get you anything shiny. Okay,
Oh,
thanks.
sure, Guy, absolutely. All right, so the debris is still hot, not hot enough to damage you.
Nice and warm. Isn't it like cold out too?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That must really feel nice.
You come up with some lumps of melted gold, some lumps of melted silver, and the rest of it is just trash, broken glass, crumbled furniture, what have you.
But Jeebus is going to look around the back side of the building for that one doorway that was leading down like into a cellar or something.
Oh, right, yeah. That's.
Is it still intact or is it smoldering?
No, the house collapsed down into the cellar. So,
Are there any hidden passages or tunnels I can detect being a dwarf? Cavities, etc.
No.
Worth a shot.
What about as my elf? Do any concealed or secret doors or anything?
I think those went whoosh.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Doesn't hurt to try.
Okay.
Well, then we start here. This is our treasure. We take it back to the cart.
Indeed.
What's our next step?
How big a lump of gold? Like, do we ever do we? Yeah, we'd have to have an appraised value or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just
I mean,
lump.
the silver feels like it weighs maybe 50 pounds. The gold less so, maybe 10 pounds.
A lot better than nothing.
Well, one place we have, I think we should just take that back to our house at the moment. Then come back. I know that's a lot of back and forth, but one place we haven't investigated in this castle is that collapsed stables. We've looked at it, but never looked into it. There might be other entrances there
Yep,
that aren't express routes to the bottom.
indeed. I'm gonna hack off a chunk of the silver for the imp, and just kind of as an immediate turnaround, just kind of hold it up. Now, keeping in mind this is probably like half the size of the imp, but I have an axe.
Okay. It takes you a few whacks to clang off a bit, a pound or two maybe. He thanks you and
There you go.
disappears.
That's for watching the house all night. Okay. So you said you want to start over at the stables then?
Yeah, it's the one place you and talking to the two old, longest living hirelings, no one has ever investigated the stables. So I think we should.
Didn't we investigate the stables a little while ago, a couple sessions ago? And the
we
said no,
did.
because I know we pulled. I pulled wood from the stables for the fire to burn down the house.
Okay.
But
Just-
maybe we can find new masonry or something there. If there's any, is there any hidden masonry or any hidden
Yeah.
cavities or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a place to look.
So you're gonna search the stable for secret doors?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Trapdoors.
at the front of it where you were pulling beams and fallen slats from the woods and outer parts of the structure, nothing is obvious, nothing has changed. There is part of it in the back in the shadows that you haven't been into yet.
It's in shadows. Let's get a torch.
I have dark vision as a dwarf. Does
Okay.
that can I see? Is that still spoiled by the sunlight?
Yeah, you'd
Okay.
have to be in darkness to see in the darkness.
I asked the link boy to pass me a lit torch because I'm going to go take a look.
Hand you a torch.
Thank you, link boy.
Welcome,
And I-
sir.
And I take out my sword, torch in the other hand, and I peer in slowly, walk in like 10 some odd feet. Take a look
All
around.
right. Sorry, just getting to the right place in my notes.
You want me to follow in behind you, or do you want me to hang out back here?
I was about to say Valoric can follow and have his holy symbol ready just in case.
Yeah, just he's like, follow in, but be cautious.
Axe and shield.
All right. What is Valoric's dexterity again?
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, not
Mine,
Valoric. Jennings.
Jennings is Dex is 17.
Dex is 17. Okay. You hear something shift on the rafter above you, so you are not surprised.
Good.
Two huge spiders leap to the floor in front of you. They are lean and athirst.
I don't
What are you
remember
doing?
names. They're within melee range.
Oh,
of me?
absolutely. They land on the floor in front of you.
Okay. I will slash at one of them and yell back for my men to come in and throw javelin.
All right. The
Actually,
opening
not throw
to-
javelins, but advance with javelin.
Okay, the opening to the barn part of the stable is, or the covered part, not to imply that's great big Amish barn or anything. The covered part is large enough that your men can advance in. They will spend this round doing that.
Yes.
You are going to stabby at the giant spiders. So
Can I also use my torch in my other hand as sort of a weapon to bat at them? Might help.
A flaming club.
Pretty much.
yeah, I mean, you can try and batter him with, the hard end of it.
Never mind. I won't. It'll be better if I just use my sword without dual wielding.
How about Average and Valoric?
My lord's drawing his short sword and getting ready to take a slash.
Yeah, I was behind Genin. So, are there any targets I can bring my axe down on?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can just step around him to the left or to the right and beyond the spiders.
That's what I'm doing.
All right. So the men-at-arms are moving up.
Yeah, mine have spears. They'll move in.
Okay. Valoric and Bajibas are closing in, I'm presuming.
Yes.
All right. Then Mark, you're right there. Go ahead and roll initiative. I know what the spiders are going to do.
Next time we should send
One.
the imp in.
Oh no!
I rolled a 1.
Oh. All right. One for Mark. One for Kyle. Let's see. That's a miss and a miss.
Excellent.
Counterattacks, please.
That's a 1.
That is a 13.
A 13. What did I tell you about those borderline numbers, sir? All right. $13 will not hit. Just barely misses. The men-at-arms are now there. They will be able to attack in this round. Valoric is there. He can attack in this round.
Okay.
Basically, anyone that you want meleeing can melee in this round.
Okay. My lord's going to take his swing.
All right. So James, roll initiative for us. Again, I know what the spiders are going to do.
Oh, okay.
And
got a 1.
all right, in simultaneous combat, you guys make your attacks, and then I'll see if they hit.
That's a 3. Nope.
Nope, did worse. Are you rolling for our hirelings, Bill?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, mine should be in melee at this point.
Sure. So that's 5 men-at-arms.
Yeah.
5.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's 1 back.
Next time we send the imp in first.
Valoric's got a 19. Bajibas got an 18.
oh, those are both hits.
Nice. That wizard, man.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Make
He's better,
fighters
he's better than the
look
fighters.
Feud melee wizard. The fighters with their javelins.
I cast dagger.
Well,
the
one of
most
fighters
effective
with the
spell. Use it as
javelin
much as you want.
stabs one of them for 4
It's a cantrip.
points. Did
I
you
prefer
roll
to
your
cast
damage?
bonk, personally.
2 on the short sword and 3 on the dagger.
Okay. Both attacking the same one or attacking different ones?
Same one. They're side by side. So
Okay. You've got a giant spider on the left and a giant spider on the right. Which one are you attacking as you're looking at them?
One on the right.
Okay, it's not looking very good. So the other men-at-arms miss and a miss, and the last one a miss. Counterattacks from the spiders, miss and a miss. New round. Kyle, go ahead and roll initiative, please.
That's a 6. Hey,
All right, you guys just go before the spiders.
finally 17 plus math.
I have to get new dice. I rolled a 1 this time. One of them should go
No.
down.
13 and a 3.
The 13 is almost. No, that one's going to miss because it missed before. The 3 absolutely misses. Go ahead and roll your damage, Kyle.
10.
Wow. Okay. So you, with the damage that had been done to it before, you obliterate that one. So there's just the one left, and 5-minute arms are going after it.
I rolled next.
Let's see. Miss, miss, miss. A hit and a miss, but the one hit might be enough. Yes, he pins it to the floor with his javelin. It just it's like sort of curl up.
Well done, man. Well done.
Cool. Good job.
During all of this, I should point out, you don't know where it came from. You don't know how. You don't know why. But Ira is wearing a red and white striped sweater, holding a little megaphone in one hand and a stick with sort of a tassel on the other. You're like, go team, go team, go team. And when the last one dies, stuff just sort of whirls away into nothingness.
So this time, let's send Ira in first.
No,
Okay.
I suggest we look around for, where did those spiders come from? Above us?
They drop down from the rafters above.
Is there a lot of webbing up there?
There is, actually. Well, no, I should point out there's not webbing like, the big radial spider webs. There's massive webby stuff, massive webby stuff, massive webby stuff, and so on.
Start cutting it down. Reach up there and start hacking at it. Cut it
Right.
down.
Yeah, using a spear maybe if it's very high up to start
All right.
chopping it down, get it down.
There are a few desiccated skeletons, basically mummified. You think one of them may have been elven. The rest seem to be a mix. There's an orc, a couple of goblins, something so old it could have been a gnome. It could have been a kobold. You're not sure. But there is some loot. Or, well, let's see if there's some loot, I should say. I shouldn't say there is. There's some coin up there, to be sure.
It's like a pinata. We hit it and it's fine.
It is. It is.
Desiccated corpse, some loot.
Just
It's
you rattle them around first to see if they jingle.
It's a pinata. So let's see.
Occasionally hit an egg sack. Oh God! Spiders everywhere.
Yeah, written on the wall of webs is "That's some pig."
Oh God!
So you come up with a total of 21 pieces of copper.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Um, 20 pieces of silver.
Hey.
Uh, 18 pieces of electrum, and
That fake metal.
yeah, that metal that doesn't exist, except everywhere. Four. And 11 pieces of gold. Oh, wait. Also,
Wait, there's more.
wait, there's more. 5 pieces of platinum.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh, big money.
Finding a $20 bill down at the
Hey, that's
park.
one for each of us.
Yay.
And let's take a gander here.
Guess I'll just put that one platinum coin on my sheet. Literally one for each of us, because one goes to the imp.
Money, 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 money. All right, and
You get a coin.
6 gemstones.
Whoa. That's
Ooh.
nice. Are they big? Small?
Well, I will tell you about the gemstones. Okay, so for those of you who may not be familiar with AD&D, it has a rather extensive and interesting gemstone selection section, which I have tried to codify in software. It's hard. It's so hard. I don't have the programming chops to do it. So let me see here. Oh, that's not going to help. Let me get over to the gemstone table. Here we go. All right. So we have, I said, how many? 4?
6.
6.
He's already trying to shortchange us.
3
Indeed.
it is. All right.
2.5.
All right.
Face, it broke in half.
Is this real? Oh, God.
All right. This will take just a moment. See, now things begin to pay off a little bit.
Yeah. Trust the imp, you get paid out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do what all adventurers do. We'll say, look, we got some loot. Let's keep going.
Indeed.
There's got to be more. Come on.
Well, once again with the Electrum my dwarf had, it's like I could have like retired and bought a bar.
Or become a lawyer. He seems to be doing good contracts.
No, see, he became an adventurer because he hated being a lawyer.
Yeah.
I like how you're making your backstory. Suddenly, your dwarf was a former lawyer who's now good adventuring.
I mean, when you get tired, when you spend your entire, you can actually take this from an academic. When you spend your entire life like with your head in a book, there's nothing more that you want to do than something physical. It's so true. That's
One
why I
more
split
gem.
this off.
Okay. So I'm gonna compute the values, but don't write any of this down. But this is what I was explaining to the players, those of you who are listening along. The base values for these gems are in gold pieces, and there's 6 of them: 10, 50, 100, 500, and 2 base 1,000. So these could explode, as the kids say, and get more valuable, or they could get less valuable, and we're going to find out if they do or don't. All right. See, over on my gaming, working, whatever PC, I actually have the Dungeon Master's Assistant software, which does all the heavy lifting. I could just push a button and it would spit out 5 or 6 gems at a value. But here we get to let the dice tell the story. As
Here we relive the fun of Chart Roller, the game that nobody plays anymore.
quiet you.
Actually, I had a professor that played Chart Roller, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, she loved it to death. She really did. She played during work, which I probably shouldn't say on the internet.
Just don't say who it is.
Yeah, right. They played in a text chat though. I've not known anybody to actually do that though. Like just like play D&D like all day via text.
Wow.
Like yeah, that seems nuts to me.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. First one. is an ornamental stone. It is worth 10. And it is a moss agate.
Ooh.
Yellow-white with greenish moss markings on it. That is the first one. The second one is a star rose quartz, translucent rosy stone with a white star center. And it is 50. The 100 value one, 100 base value one, is, in fact, upon further closer examination, you determine worth 200 gold pieces.
Ooh.
And it is a light green jade with some creamy white highlights along the edges where it's been trimmed. And the next one upon further examination, you realize is not, in fact, worth
Diddly squat.
Mm.
It is not, in fact, worth 500. It's worth at least 1,000.
Ooh.
It's worth 1,000, and it is a white chalcedony.
Mm-hmm. Chalcedony, yeah.
Is that how you say that? Okay. Learn something new every day.
Thank you, Tolkien.
Lots of words in the DMG that I only learned from the DMG.
Same.
All right. Let's see. Now we have two more. We have let's see, the 1,000 gold piece one. Upon closer examination, is worth 2,000.
Ooh.
You guys just got enough XP and treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, first edition.
It is a star ruby,
There we go.
a translucent ruby with a white star center, and the last one. Its base value is unchanged,
Okay.
and it is
Throw it away. It's trash.
an Oriental Emerald.
Oriental or ornamental?
Oriental Emerald, clear, bright green.
Wow.
So what's that total, adventurers?
A lot.
3260. 3,200. Yeah, 3,260 gold pieces worth of gemstones.
In gems alone, yeah.
Yeah.
How do we want to divide those up?
I think we should liquidate them when we get back to Greyhawk.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think it's easier to carry around a rock, though.
Yeah, but we have to split them up. We'd have to figure out amounts
fair.
and accounting. I am going to do the thing that probably I should not do.
Zuli,
My
do the
character
thing.
is going to advance slowly another 10-ish feet. Wants to see what else is in here.
I'm going to hold your shoulder and take all of the gems out of your pocket first.
I'm reminded of that meme, adventurer wants to move forward, and you guys are the other player not wanting you to move forward.
I'm looking deeper into the stables. Like, is it just more webs or anything else out there? Like,
normal webs, dust, the decayed, crumbled remains of hay. You think a rusted pair of tongs lying on the, shoe horsing tongs, an anvil in the corner, sort of one of the paddocks stable thing kind of deal sort of blocks your view
Stalls.
of stalls, thank you, blocks your view of the very far end. You'd have to step around there.
I will
So you're gonna do it? You're gonna
carefully-
step around there?
Yeah, carefully. And the pit trap.
And that other spider that's been waiting all this time just,
A gargantuan spider.
The phase spider.
oh God, no.
Bejeebus will be searching for like concealed doors and stuff like that, like false.
All right. You find no concealed doors or the such.
I don't presume I find anything either.
No, the only thing in the final stall is just kind of more of the same stuff.
Good.
Just the ancient ruins and remnants of a stall.
Dehydrated manure.
Another
Basically.
3,200 GP in gems.
So
A green dragon.
Gene thinks that we have actually done something good here. We have we have got some treasure. Maybe we did, by burning the place down over there, miss out on some stuff. But with this, with my share of this, I'll be able to get better armors and weapon and my men back there, better weapons and armor as well.
I can
And
buy
then we can
mine
go
shoes.
Forward. Yes, yours didn't have shoes
I
As
can
we
buy
found out
mine
on
shoes.
my character sheet.
They have the finest dwarven leather armor and no shoes.
No shoes.
So yeah, I agree. I like that idea a lot though. We can go back, we can pay our 10 gold, get our get the initial deposit, the 500 electrum back from the barmaid, provided it's still there, and head over to the city of Greyhawk, have some plate mail made for me, have whatever made for you guys, and we can go from there. Sound good?
Yeah.
Sir Average,
Yep.
you have made a deal with an infernal being.
Indeed.
Do you owe him anything from this?
All I owe him is for him providing exploration-based effects. I gave him, the rule was with any exploration help that he does, right, he gets a share of the treasure. Right?
Okay.
Did he help us explore here? Did he? I don't think so.
No.
I gave him a chunk of the silver for watching the house. I gave him a share there. Right? You went in first this time. We didn't send him in. Ergo, I gave him a platinum coin as a tip for being in the background and looking cute, like what's his face in Aladdin, dead now.
Robin Williams.
Thank you, Robin Williams. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, Ira can hang out. Ira, you want to just hang out here, or do you want to come with us to Greyhawk on an adventure?
Oh, no. Greyhawk's too much hustle, too much bustle for a little guy like me. I'll stay here at the castle.
Rebuild.
Be sure to wave at the undead when they come back. Actually, make sure you sit and stare at that house angrily, because I want to see if it'll reach and will work on.
I don't get angry. That's not in my nature.
Okay, stare at it happily then.
That I can do.
So we good, guys?
Yeah, it's still probably pretty early in the morning, or have we wasted our whole day so far? Because I know it's a day's trip to the inn, so I'd like to leave early in the morning so we don't get there too late. I think.
Yeah.
So if need be, we'll stay another night. I think at the longhouse.
You know, one of your men at arms is going to make like a solid, 10 gold or something stupid from just standing by a wagon for 3 days.
Yeah.
Best job ever.
Yeah.
I'll rotate them so it's not. I don't seem to be giving favorites.
As long as you didn't get eaten while we were in there, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure which job has the highest risk, actually. Being with the group is probably the safest.
Eh,
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's
So-
the feast or famine, folks, of first edition AD&D. I mean, you had 135% party casualties for no gain. And then they went in and basically killed a couple of gigantic wolf spiders and are walking away with the king's ransom. So,
Remember, feature, not a bug.
exactly.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pack up our stuff, go back to the inn, or I guess stay overnight so that we can then go to Greyhawk.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Alrighty. Let's see. You're in the wagon, right? You're taking the wagon back through the
Yep.
swamp? Okay. All right. So it's about a day's journey through marsh.
I know, we just make it so hard. It's so hard
No,
to murder.
no, you don't-
so
you
hard
don't
to
make
murder
it-
us.
You don't make it hard on me. Let's see.
The Marsh, Black Dragon.
Yeah. that wandering hill giant encounter.
These dice that won't give me a single encounter are what makes it hard on me. But you arrive back at the inn,
Yay!
the Last Chance Inn, on the borders, on the outskirts of the great boggy marsh that contains Castle Greyhawk. There you are. It is cold and miserable as you've been slogging through boggy marshness.
I am buying myself and my men a nice warm dinner, some beer, and a place to stay overnight near the fire so we'll stay warm.
Yep.
Treat them well.
Yep.
They did good work.
All right. Well, having retired back to the inn and
Oh,
not
Oh.
retired like you've retired from adventuring.
We're
No, so-
rich.
yes. We did. Sorry, Bill. We're retiring now. Okay, thanks.
roll up another party. Here we go again. This is the human wave tactic. Just keep sending first level characters in, and they'll burn through eventually. Yeah.
Set more houses on fire. It'll be
Yeah.
But eventually they won't have swords or armor. It's just like you kill an enemy, you take their sword. Keep moving.
Russians, beginning of World
Yes.
War II.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's a brick.
The man with a magic missile wand shoots. The man behind him follows. All right. Anything else? You guys are back there. The men are well fed. They're telling stories of, 600 giant spiders and burning undead and everything else. It's tall tales, and they're having a fine old time. Is there anything else that you guys wish to do in preparation? Because I think we're kind of coming up on a little past bottom of the hour, so probably gonna wrap here soon.
Yeah.
How much is a platinum coin worth in AD&D?
It's 5 gold, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 5 gold. Let me
and
double
Electrum
check on that.
and Electrum's half a
Electrum's
gold, right?
Half gold, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna slip the barmaid 20 Electrum to get my other Electrum back if she has it. Does she have my 500?
Oh yeah. You guys have been gone like 2 days, so
As I said.
she did not have a chance to scheme and run away to Belize with your money. So
Good. Well, so she made a good deal. Here's the 10 that I promised, and thanks for the National Bank of the Last Inn.
And here's all those 1 ounce bottles you gave me.
Yeah, really. I will give those back.
and
I
I
want
put
your nickel back on each one.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I put a mention there in the chat.
I'm gonna tape a coin to the
she
bottom
takes the
of each
bottles
one.
back. Alrighty, well, I hope our audience had a lot of fun. I think this is one of the more fun streams now that we've got the full setup here. We don't have to monkey about with Discord. I can just have you guys log into StreamYard. I sound like a StreamYard evangelist, but it really, really is a very simple, much simpler to use system. You guys just write in on the website, let it grab your camera and audio, and you're here. And same thing for me. And I'll be able to do things like that and put a different camera up on the screen for you guys to see map and so on, instead of trying to download someone's fork of the Discord executable that allows dual camera inputs and a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm just at a point in my life where I just want things to work.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
That's the struggle with technology, right?
Yeah, Kyle and I were talking about it at the beginning. So to again, to the audience, Lord Corion, thank you everyone. And I do want to mention special thanks here once again to the patrons. And someone else has joined our patron family. Thank you, Digital Discord. Thank you very much for joining the new Patreon. It's fantastic. And I believe we're up to 861 subs on the YouTube channel.
Awesome.
We're getting closer to the con, guys, closer to the mini con.
You too can die in these situations.
You too can die. No, it's convention. They die in different dungeons. So thank you everyone for watching the extremely long butt-killing stream tonight. I'm gonna go take some back aid and plot on spending the Patreon in June to buy a new chair. So
asking for the Discord link there.
The Discord link, yes, Lord Corion, I will get you that Discord invite here. One moment, please.
Question for the DM for next time.
Yes, sir.
Can we discuss in the aftermath here how much all of this breaks down to, if we're getting experience points, and then can we just and then can we, would it be safe to assume that we can prepare shopping lists while in Greyhawk, or do we want to RP all that out?
I would rather role play that out. That's part and parcel of good D&D, as opposed to scripted Dungeons and Dragons. Not that I know any live streaming Dungeons and Dragons outlet that script things to people's tastes.
They go on their shopping trips.
They do. And it's a big time dump as far as.
Oh no, I wasn't picking on Matt Mercer this time. just some.
Yeah, let's go on. Let's do a shopping montage.
Shopping montage. I'll play some Cyndi Lauper. You guys can pop in and out of shops. Everybody can look disapprovingly when you come out in garish armor or clothes.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
We can stop at the cafe and grab a coffee, you know.
Oh god.
I need a floppy hat, a really big one.
You definitely need a big floppy hat.
Yes. I'll tell you guys a story in party. Right. Back in the go-go 70s, when lots of companies were making mini games and so forth to try and scrape off a little bit of the adventure war games pie, there was a company called Yaquinto, and they made a game called Swashbuckler. And in Swashbuckler, it was very much a tavern or on the deck of the ship brawl with epis and scimitars and cutlasses. It was basically just a Three Musketeers scene game. Hey, Volcano God in the chat. Good to see you too, Volcano God. Hopefully we can get you back at the table soon, my friend. But in Yaquinto, the designers, for rules that I don't fully understand, I love how my Pink Floyd promo completely brackets my head. It looks like I'm pig-headed, guys. Look. But anyway,
kind of looks like Princess Leia.
In Swashbuckler, you could stun an opponent by flapping your hat at them and prevent them from doing something in a round. The 2 times I played Swashbuckler, my friend Jason ran across the deck of the ship once and a tavern room the second time to find me and do that. I didn't get to do anything fun in the game. He thought it would be hilarious if he just literally just stood there beating me in the face with his giant floppy hat with a presumably a big white feather on the side like the Three Musketeers. You're mentioning floppy hats brought that trauma back to the surface. So
Cloak fencing is a thing. It's
Yes.
actually quite fun.
all right. With that said, thank you, audience. Thank you, participants. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you to our friends over at Patreon. Thank you to the anonymous donator who made StreamYard paid possible. I thank you so much for that. And you guys have an absolutely wonderful evening. Peace to you all.